Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Knowledge and Relationships presents Rico and R'Shaun. And today we want to talk about sex. Ain't that right, Rico?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's about long overdue that we had an adult conversation.
Definitely. So I wanted to first say greetings, everybody that's in the chat. Let me see. Thank you again for M3, Mr. Best in the world. You know, the whole crew over Knowledge and Relationships for allowing us this space again to talk. We wanted to definitely share with you a few things that we had on our mind. And again, we're not directly talking about sex, guys. You know me. We're talking about a little bit deeper conversations, no pun intended. The first thing we're going to talk about is a lot of things that have been talked about online. You know, we inhabit this space where a lot of people have a lot of opinions and conversations, and a lot of it just lacks a whole lot of nuance and context. So me and Rico are here to bring that to you. So hopefully you'll accept it from us. Hopefully you enjoy it, get something from it, and hopefully you'll also participate. The first thing we wanted to talk to you about was sexual history. You know, that's a big taboo hot topic. You know, where bodies and body count and, you know, what you've done in your past. So Rico, when we had talked about that a little earlier this week, what were your thoughts?
Well, I mean, it's funny because obviously everybody has a sexual history. You know, once you pretty much above the age of, I'll just say 18, and for a lot of people in much earlier ages, we actively have started engaging in sexual activities. As far as sexual history, it's funny because that's sort of the thing that it's men have a presume like we'll have people have presumptions about people's sexual history based on their behavior in the street. So if we used to say when I was coming up, oh, that girl's fast, little fast tail girl, and it was assumed she might have not slept with anybody, but the rumors and the innuendo would be all up and down throughout the neighborhood about how she been with everybody and she ain't been with nobody. And heaven forbid if she ain't been with you, then you really gonna throw mud on their name. But the only way you know anybody's true sexual history is if they so choose to share it with you. I know for me, I've never shared my sexual history. And, like I said, I've been married 3 times. They ain't never asked. I ain't never disclosed. Other than the obvious of I don't have any sexually transmitted diseases or anything like that and being tested. But as far as where the bodies are, you don't want to know. And I'm not telling. I'm gonna take them to my grave. But being a mature man, I also don't go, as they say, you find dirt where you look for it. Yeah. I love my wife. She was the only virgin in the world with 2 kids already, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm content with that. So I really don't want to know. And it was the same thing with the other. So, when we talk about sexual history, I think most of us, and it's weird, I've had a couple of conversations with myself, and I was like, man, what were you doing, in your 20s and your 30s? Everything with anybody, the promiscuity, because again, we come from a culture where, boys are told, the more notches on your belt, the more that the sense of bravado. And it's really not a healthy thing when you get older, or even when you're younger. It's just kind of silly. I don't know why that's a stigma we still haven't broken in 2022. But as far as sexual history, where the body's buried, I think for most people everywhere, or be like this, I shouldn't do that because now I'm projecting. I know my bodies are buried everywhere. So I want to feel normal and feel like there's nothing wrong with me, but it might be. So that's my take on it. But the one thing about it is it keeps me humble as far as trying to cast any aspersions on other people, celebrities, and so forth. I think when we sit back as an audience looking at other people's lives, we pass an undue harsh level of judgment that most of us wouldn't be able to withstand that same level of scrutiny.
Definitely. Let me shout out people in the chat really quickly. Mimsy Limbs, good to see you again. Thank you for being here. Hopefully you stick around for a little bit. We saw Just Kaya pop in. Hello, Just Kaya. Saw a couple of your streams recently. They've been quite interesting. And your discussion the other day on Knowledge and Relationships. Definitely enjoyed that. Danique Anthony, the lady on the thumbnail, that was from a stream I saw. And I thought it was a funny thumbnail. So, Danique, I'm sorry. I clickbaited you. Summer Mince Pies, thank you also for being here. I see you coming over streaming from Twitch. Hopefully you enjoy some of the conversation. I agree with you. The only thing we really need to be concerned about is the clear STD panel. And that's something we need to talk about too. How seriously do we take our sexual health? But right now we're just talking about what's been going on as far as the conversation and around sexual history. A lot of the groups I've been in, a lot of the men were talking about, I don't understand why they're stuck on this, the body count. But then they'll also concede the point that the woman can just lie about it. So you really don't know. So they were also at the same time saying they also want her to be sexually experienced. They wanted to know what she's doing. So, there was a whole lot of weird conversation around it. And we just wanted to bring it up. But Rico, do the feelings around sexual history, all these feelings people are having online, is it an important discussion that we need to have? And is online the space for it?
Online, I'll start with the online aspect of it. That's not the space for it. It isn't. People are just they're putting their best foot forward, but that's not their most honest foot. Is it a discussion that needs to be, like I said, obviously the most important thing is always a person's sexual health, because I'm guessing like part of the conversation, I know we'll get into a little bit more. It's like, how do men approach sex and how do women approach sex? I think we approach it equally the same, but men, again, they project virtues on a woman that they don't think a man is even required to have. So that makes no sense to me, that you can be this lustful beast, but you need this virtuous woman. And if a woman was equally as lustful as you, oh, she just can't be worth anything. But that's who you're out there trying to slay in the street anyway, is the experienced woman. And you want to come home to the virgin. It's kind of crazy. So I think the discussions obviously need to be had between the partners. I don't need to talk to somebody I don't plan on being intimate with about sexual history or bodies, because unless she plan on giving me some, what difference does it matter? So it's always a conversation that you only need to engage with someone that you intend on or you have been intimate with. If there's no intimacy involved, I don't care if I'm sleeping with 1 million people. It doesn't matter to you, or it should.
All right. Real quick shout out to DJ Eddie King. Thank you, sir, for the shout out. Thank you also for being here. Appreciate the love and support. On the Block with Jen. Oh, hey, thank you for popping through. I've watched a couple of your streams lately. I just watched the one with the two gentlemen, the abled gentlemen. They were definitely inspiring. So I really appreciate your conversation with those two. It was fun and it was informative. I didn't feel, know that they felt so comfortable with people coming up and asking questions. So, I mean, that's something I definitely took away from that they were open to those conversations about the lost limbs, and, they prefer that as opposed to people just staring and making assumptions. So I really appreciate you for having that conversation. Now, I know one, what do you call that? Curveball. Rico, that I saw thrown in a conversation earlier. You know, with all this man talk about, you know, bodies and sexual history. They also wanted to know, what about if a man has had sexual history with another man? Because, you know, the women are like, oh, sexual history doesn't matter. You don't need to worry about how many bodies I have. But what about when the guy has been dabbling on the other side?
I mean,
And it seemed to be a little bit of a double standard when that conversation took place. There seemed to be a bit of a, they was like, I want to know. I need to know.
Yeah, it is a double standard, because most men, if a woman would say she was with 100 women, most guys would be like, the first thing they're gonna say is, can they join in? What can you invite her? You know, all sorts of things like that. But they don't realize, even though women get into same-sex relationship, there's a lot of intimacy involved emotionally. So they're not just, you know, sexing each other up like you would a woman just, you know, trying to do that. I do think that if a man has been in a same-sex relationship, he has an obligation to tell any partner going forward, and they should have the right to decide if they want to. And it doesn't mean that that person's sexual health is any, or history or health is any worse than a heterosexual male. It just means you have an obligation to tell that partner that, hey, you know, I like, you know, men and women, whatever the case may be. I throw no shade on those people like that. I don't think there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. But I don't think that's something that you're obligated to disclose, the same as if you had an STD. Because when we were talking about sexual health, like what, 1 out of 5 or 1 out of 4 people have some sort of STD. And, you know, even if it's people are living with HIV 20, 30 years, you have to disclose it. You can't take the power away from the other person by withholding relevant, critical information. You know,
so I'm glad you said that though, Rico. Why is that relevant? Like, if it doesn't matter how many women a person's had sex with, why does it matter if the guy slept with another guy? I mean, why, like you said, if there's no STDs, why is that relevant? Because you said that's like critical. Like, you have to disclose that.
Because I just think, as far as the STDs, as far as HIV, that's a legal responsibility. You don't disclose that, you're going to jail. The only reason why I say, as far as, you know, if a guy slept with a guy, normally I would say it shouldn't matter, but it goes to orientation. Body count does not. Body count is just, you basically know she slept with 1, she slept with 100. She slept with a dude, she slept, you know, because then the thing is, I'm like, okay, because a guy be like, oh, well, she only slept with 10 guys. I'm like, oh, you feel good about that? Yeah, they was all at once. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, she got gang banged by 10 guys, right? But you okay with that because it's 10. So that's why the number gets a little crazy. It's like, because you don't know, and she'd be like, oh, my count's 10. Oh, okay, she only had 10. Boy, but was that a 10? You know, you just don't know. You just don't know.
So I definitely get that.
Want to know.
I was going to say real quick, shout out to 100 Watts. What it do? I see you. Red Lipstick Vibes, thank you for being in the building. Watched a couple of your clips earlier today as well. Thank you for clipping up some of those conversations. And I thought I saw, there we go. Pillow Talk with Sorrel Bay. Yeah, we're on Baywatch over here. Thank you for stopping through. Now, real quick, Rico, going back to that conversation, does that same, let's say, necessity extend to women who've engaged in same-sex relationships? Like you said, for a man, it goes towards, excuse me, I can't remember what word you use, orientation. So for a man, if it goes towards orientation, does it matter with women?
It should. I mean, in a sense of fair play, it should make no. And I'll be honest with you, if I was a guy, again, like I said, I don't ask these things, but I would like to know. I would hope they would volunteer it. Because, I mean, one, if you think about it, you know, sometimes you're in a relationship and you might want to start. So if I knew I was with a girl and she had been intimate with women before, I would be more likely to bring up the conversation around maybe inviting somebody into our relationship. If I don't think she's ever done it, then I'm a lot more hesitant to do it, because then the woman will start to think, oh, you must want to be with somebody else. I'm like, nah. If I know she had been with females before, I'd be like, no, I just thought you might have missed it. You know, it's a different dynamic if you know that history. I think they should tell you, but I know most men wouldn't be upset if she didn't tell you and you found out later. But if a woman found out later that the man had been with a man, that's where it's unfair.
Yeah, I
But it's
agree
the
with
world
that.
we live in.
I don't even want to say it's unfair, man. I don't think double standards are that unfair because we have some double standards. They have some double standards. I mean, we can get over it. We're men. Get over it. But
Yeah.
I did want to say thank you for stopping by, bro Clarence. Let's talk the Better Black Life. R'Shaun and Rico, peace and peace to the chat. Now, Rico, while you were talking, it reminded me of something. It reminded me of that where the origin of that. Damn, Rico. Yeah, because you were talking about some stuff back in the
Oh
day.
yeah.
Yeah. Yes. While we up here talking about sexual history, man, you was talking about some parties. Yeah.
Yes.
So now you talked about you went to a few swingers clubs. How did that come about? Like, how did you get introduced to that? Because like when you said you went to a couple of the clubs, you know, the
Yeah.
swingers clubs back in the day. How did you even fall into that?
I had been married, I had been divorced, and I actually had a nephew that was actually a male dancer. He was a male dancer, and he first invited me out. He was like, hey, Uncle Rico. I was like, yeah, what's up? You want to go to a party with me? I was like, okay, shit, I ain't doing anything. And he kind of told me what it was, but he didn't really tell me. And then the first time we went, I just saw it, and it was like, oh shit, wow, it's pretty interesting. But the crazy part about it is, yes, there's a lot of sex involved. People are having sex publicly, a lot of exhibitionists, a lot of different things. And people will have all sorts of judgments about it. I still have friends to this day that's still in the lifestyle. And that's how they describe it. It's a lifestyle. They're normal people with normal jobs, all up and down the socioeconomic statuses, all different types of races and ethnicities. It's a lot of rules with it though. It's things like some people are premium, single women is like the highest hierarchy, then followed by couples. Single men, you quickly learn you're an accessory. You're there, if they want to invite you in. And that was the role I was in until I hooked up with this one girl and we started going to parties as couples, because then we could start getting in free. Because like a single man might have to pay for admission to a lot of parties, but single women, they would do that to encourage more people to come. But the parties, I was surprisingly how easy, I had never really been an exhibitionist that much. And like I said, I hung out in the lifestyle for about 7-8 years. I was doing it a lot, because at that point in time I was divorced. I didn't want a relationship. So then it kind of clicked for me. I was like, oh, cool. So I can have my needs met without having to be in any sort of committed relationship, because I really didn't want to be. I was doing a lot of that casual dating, friends, because I was like, nope. So, and you'll see a lot of people who will get in it for that reason. But there are a lot of couples where people are, and I know these people love each other, but they have open relationships. And it could be the postman, it could be a judge and a lawyer, it could be all kinds of people. And then after when we were talking about it, and it was true because I had friendships, if a party might be once a month, but then a couple might, hey, Rico, you doing anything this weekend? Nah, I'm chilling. Well, you want to come over to the house and have some drinks? And I know what's expected. I was like, all right, and you just really didn't care, So, there's a lot of voyeurism involved. I didn't get into any of the, the BDMS stuff like that. No knock on it. I don't know anything about it. It was more just the swinging. And then there are clubs, groups of single men. So remember, I was telling you about the 10 on 1. There are clubs where they actually go around in a lifestyle. And, I have a guy call me, hey, Rico, you available? I need about 4 more guys. We're going to meet so-and-so. And I was like, all right. Didn't get paid for it, but had a lot of fun. So that's without any naming any names. Yeah. My wife ain't never asked me about it. I would not lie to her, but she never asked me. 10 years in, and I ain't disclosed it. Thank
Don't
God
ask,
she
don't
don't watch
tell.
the YouTube crap.
Oh man. Well,
Yeah.
shout out to Mrs. Mary. See you in the chat. Hello, hello, hello. Partly Cloudy 420. See you over there too. Thank you so much. I did want to quickly, before we move on a little bit, bring up what summer mince pies. Sorry about that ass. I don't think I'd mind. I'd rather a guy leave me for another guy. At least then I know exactly what it is that I couldn't give him. What do you think about that? Do you think there's validity? I know that's their opinion. There's nothing wrong with their opinion. I'm just saying, what do you think about that sentiment?
I mean, I think there's a ring of truth to it because obviously a woman can't compete with another man if that's what another man desires. Unfortunately, and I guess, and that is a common thing. If you leave your woman for another woman, it's that feeling of what did she do that I did not do? So a sense of inadequacy. So I guess what she's saying, if I'm not mistaken, is she wouldn't feel as inadequate if her man left her for another man, because she would be like, well, it ain't nothing wrong with me. That's just what he wanted. But if her man left her for another woman, that's where some women do take on like, what's wrong with me? So lost a man, and now you're starting to have a lot of your insecurities about yourself become greater than what they should be. So I hope I was in the right place.
Oh yeah, she said that's accurate. That goes back to what you said about disclosing, because your orientation may be a little different, and why it's probably more important than I mean, STD is very important. What I'm saying is also as important to bring that up, because if your orientation differs, you may not be committed to the relationship anyway. So I definitely see your point that you brought up earlier. And Summer Miss Pies, thank you for kind of illustrating that dynamic. And I believe I saw somebody new. Well, anyway, Mrs. M3, I didn't speak to you. Hello, and Mr. Best. Thank you also for rocking out in the chat. Definitely appreciate you. Now, Rico, I wanted to bring up, excuse me, the sexual marketplace. And I'm definitely using that term a little differently than, the manosphere red pill space. Sexual marketplace. Are women trying to purchase relationships with sex? And are men trying to purchase sex with relationships? What do you think, Rico? Let's talk about that.
I mean, we talked about it earlier, and we sat there and said, even when I was telling you about the whole thing about, I mean, because honestly, you get into a relationship, the number one goal, you don't go into a relationship not expecting sex. Flat out. It's like, okay, whether we like each other, get along and hang out, that's great. Yeah. But if we're in a monogamous committed relationship, I'm expecting sex on a regular basis. So yes, men are utilizing the fact that we're in a relationship. You have to provide sex or I'm out of here. I'm going somewhere else. And you said, are women using sex as what?
It's that backwards, that reverse dynamic. If men are, using relationships to get sex, and I say using, they don't even want the relationship. So if they're using the relationship to gain sex, are women also using sex to gain a relationship?
Are they using sex in a relationship?
To gain the relationship? Is it a bartering tool?
I mean, I think it is. I think it's a symbiotic thing. I don't think no woman on the earth thinks she's gonna get a man short of sex. I'm like, I mean, you have to give that. You can't say that's a friendship if sex is not involved. So if me and a woman we are really connecting on if intimacy is missing, then we have a deep felt friendship. I couldn't quantify that as a relationship minus the intimacy. So it has to be required on both ends. The woman, if she wants the relationship, she has to provide sex, and the man providing the relationship, he comes with an expectation that sex is included. I'm not here just for the conversation. I can talk to R'Shaun, okay? That's what me and you have. No sex, no intimacy involved. If it's a woman involved, you got to do something occasionally, periodically, something once a month, and it better be good, something of that nature. But just, we're not going to do anything. Hey.
Hello, how are you guys?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
I just want to shout out a couple
Lovely
people
to
in
have
the
a
chat.
woman's voice in this
Yeah.
conversation. Or they start to sit there and get suspicious about me and R'Shaun.
I was already beginning that, so I had to come in and help you guys out.
Friendly, right?
Oh,
right.
hey, real quick, I want to shout out Marcus Rodriguez in the chat. Marcus, hey, I saw everybody. Listen, after this stream, please go back to the last episode of Knowledge and Relationships and check that out. Marcus Rodriguez, I'm putting him on blast. He put himself out there. There's something to do with the long fingernail and I'm trying to tell you, just go find out for yourself. It was hilarious. Marcus, man, I love you for explaining that. Victor Freeze music.
I'm sorry, it was hilarious. Cam up tonight.
Man, I'll just say there was some what do you call that? They were talking about groceries, eating the groceries. So there was some and Candid Ann. Oh my gosh, when Candid Ann came in and said, "Ooh, I ain't even gonna tell you. You got to go back and watch for yourself, please." And Victor Freeze music, man. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you, brother. Now, just Kyle, what did you think about the conversation we were having? I know you said we were looking a little suspect up here, but what were you thinking about?
You was handling it okay, but I figure you need a little estrogen in here to help balance it out a little bit.
Never heard.
Well, I did at the beginning when you guys were talking about like body count and things like that, and actually, I'm not sure, R'Shaun, do you have a channel like a Christian channel or something? Are you sure look like this guy passed? No, that's not you. Okay, anyway, I just had to say that real quick because my mind keep going there. But the gentleman here, I think it's Rico, he's like never asked, he's never been asked that question. He hasn't told. I'm kind of shocked about that's even conversation, about even asking someone that you're with now about their past and like body count. To me, I think it's kind of a disrespectful term, but I would never have a problem disclosing that. The only issue I have is these men that I have seen, they say like if they ask a woman body count, it's no matter what she say, they're going to believe she's lying. Because they say add this number or whatever. When you have someone like me, I'm going to tell you the truth, because if you have a problem with that, then you have a problem with yourself, because that's my past. That's something I've grown and learned from or whatever. That ultimately probably made me the great person that I am to this day, because you learn from your mistakes, if you want to call them mistakes, or you don't even have to call them mistakes. It was a learning period. That's where I was at that period of my time. But this is who I am today, and maybe because of that. So I don't have no respect for that if you're not really ready to have the conversation. And if you're not mature enough to have a conversation like that, you shouldn't even be asking the question. So you should believe a person when you ask them a question, they give you an answer. If you're going to go in there with doubt, then you're not ready for that conversation, period.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So my thing is, and I don't know, I think there's a large number of people out there. Again, I'm not going to try to make everybody as trashy as I've been in my past, but I'll be honest with you. My honest opinion is I can count my relationships. I have no idea what my body count is.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know, because like I said, I had a period of years where I was in the lifestyle. Hell, right. We wasn't counting. We just was enjoying ourselves. And there's a lot of people out there like that, not necessarily in the lifestyle, but whether you're in the lifestyle or not, and even in between relationships before I ever got involved, one night stands, I just don't count. So my point is, if you're with a guy and he tell you, Kyla, I mean, baby, I love you. I had 15 relationships, and I want to be honest with you, I don't know how many it was. And that's going to automatically let you know, well, oh, he's been a hoe. And it's like, maybe. I'm not anymore. So how is that going to affect you? And that's why I don't even ask, because I mean, to me, I know women out there who don't know their count.
I don't think you should. That means you're literally up there counting. Why are you counting? To achieve something? So you're counting because you know there's going to be another and another and another. So
it actually, wouldn't affect you in a bad way if the guy just said, I don't know.
The 15 relationships would bother me more because that lets me know that you can't hold on to a relationship.
Okay.
At least if you have a body count, it's understanding. I'm not about to try to work and stay in this. But if you're saying 15 relationships, now I'm looking kind of like with a side eye, because why haven't you been able to, for one, pick a woman that you can even maintain a relationship with? And then why can't you? 15 relationship is more alarming to me.
So that's what we should be doing. Is we should be trying to get a relationship count and not a body count.
That part.
Great point. That's a great point. And I've never heard it put that way.
Mm-hmm.
That would be more relevant to me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
well, definitely. Real quick, Kai and Rico, I want to add Marcus Rodriguez to the stream. And while I'm doing that, I want to shout out to Sir Hale Speaks. Thank you for stopping by. Appreciate you, sir. You have a great stream over there. So everybody, please go check out Sir Hale Speaks channel. He has a great coffee chat. I love his. I have to watch his Jordan Peterson talk because I do like Jordan Peterson. So I'm looking forward to that one. Also saw Yella. Yes, Yella Peel over on Twitch. He's a Twitch gang. So Yella, glad you stopped by. And hello, Marcus.
Hi.
How
y'all doing?
Oh, Marcus, yes, we're finally on the panel together.
I'm still healing up from the other roasting. I was getting chef the other day, so I'm still
healing up, sir.
You got backdoored.
Yeah, but it was. I like the topic you guys are talking about today about how men and women look at each other through a relationship. One's getting the relationship while the other one's getting the sex, and then I was hearing just Kaya saying how she wouldn't like it that a man wouldn't have a lot of relationships. And I understand, and I respect that. I respect. For me, I've only had about 4, maybe 5 girlfriends, but I've had many other intimate encounters with other women. I wouldn't say many, but to some people would say be many, but for me, I've only been with about between 35 or 40, maybe 45 women. But to some guys, they say, oh, that's it. Or other guys would be like, well, at least you had that. So I don't know where.
How old are you?
Where do we define? For me, how old am I? I'm 28.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm 28, but like I said, like yeah, because for me, because I've been in a relationship for the last about 4.5, 5 years, and so I stopped, being on demon time.
Marcus, you was in the military, right? Marcus?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because that was some of my worst years
when
I was in the military. Those were some of my worst years.
You were just spraying bullets?
Yeah. Every weekend. So
see, for me it was different. For me, I don't know why, but like for me it was just either I got to spend time with family or I got to hang out with the girl here or there, or just I would try to go to church even though I'm imperfect and I would sin here and there. I would try to bounce out and do many things. So maybe it was just a schedule thing for me. So that's why for me, it was like time to time. I was like, should I do this? Should I do that? So it's not that I always prioritized having sex is what I was trying to say.
Well, I was 19, 20. So I was young, dumb, full of whatever. And every Friday, 1700, we at the club and I'm not leaving. I'm taking somebody home. And that was like, and I'm like 19. So, you're strapping and, it's like you work, how it is all during the week. And when that weekend came, it was pent up. And that was like, so you talking that's 52 weeks out of the year. That body count going to be close to 50 at the end of the year.
At least.
I mean, my parents ran a strict household, so I wasn't able to bring many women like back home. I could bring girlfriend. I could present them as a girlfriend.
We took them to the car, the motel, to the barracks, wherever. Parking lot. I'm 19.
I can't stand car sex, though. So, I can't stand car sex. That's just me.
Not unless you're married.
So you tried.
Let me shout out to Chef Shapino real quick. He said, say pause, Rico. Say pause. I can't remember what you said in there, but he said to say pause. Just wanted to shout that out real quick. But I wanted to ask just Kai a question real quick. Sorry about cutting you off, Marcus. Yeah. I think you might have been getting ready, kept going. But when we were talking about the men wanting to know body counts now, do you think there's some insecurity with that need to know or that constant conversation? If somebody's pressing you on that question, do you think that's a male insecurity?
Only if he can't handle the conversation. If you're going to ask that question, then you need to be able to handle that conversation and handle the truth. Because if you're figuring married relationship or whatever, at this point you're trying to build something, especially if you're asking that question. So be prepared. Be prepared to put on your big boy panties and have the conversation. And don't just revert to, oh, she's lying, there's more. If there is more or not, have the conversation, whatever that might look like. But if you're not ready for it, then don't ask that question, because then I'm like, okay, he's not ready for a relationship, because life is going to get a lot tougher than who I done slept with in the past. You know.
I was gonna add a little context to that. So, could you be able to be okay with him not accepting that, not being cool with that, and you still having that maybe mentality of saying, "Oh, he can't handle that. Maybe that's just not what he wants." Could that be the other side to that coin?
I will look at him differently. Can he lead me? Can he lead this relationship?
But he can't have a statute of limitations. Is that what you're saying?
So
he can't have
that's telling me he don't know
parameters.
himself. That's telling me he don't know himself. If he knows himself and he can't have that conversation, don't ask that question. So that's telling me he don't know himself, that he's not able to handle that. Now, if he maybe, okay, if you want a flip side of it, maybe said his initial reaction was a certain way, and he comes back or whatever that might look like and say, you know what? I just realized I wasn't ready to handle that conversation. He comes back and say, okay, it is what it is. I don't want to know no more. Now he's acknowledging, he's holding himself accountable. He don't want to have that. But however, if it goes on weeks from here and I can still tell like he's bringing up little shy little, jabs here and there, and if he's saying stuff to show me he's still insecure about it, I'm gone. If we're not married, I'm gone, because he still don't know himself.
So what if he just, like, instead of him bringing it up constantly, that one time he has that conversation with you, and then he just, like, he slowly starts detaching himself from you because you may have had a high body count, because every guy's limit or border of a body count is their preference, their limit. They're saying, hey, maybe they don't want a girl that maybe has a reputation of being around the girl on the block. Maybe
he needs to make that decision for himself.
Well, can I ask you both a question?
I'm not the one. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you both a question? Okay, so one, I first want to ask you, Jessica. So, at what point in the relationship should that conversation come up, if it comes up? I don't think it needs to at all, but at what point should it be like?
Day one.
It would be inappropriate. I ain't even been intimate with you, and I'm asking you something like that.
Day one.
So, and that seemed like an awkward conversation, because even if a woman asked me that day one, I'm like, you great take your pants
a woman
off?
Won't ask, because a woman don't care.
Right. So
we don't care.
But it seems like so day one they should ask, if they're going to ask.
Okay, day two. Okay. But early on, if that means something to you, if there's a certain number you already have in your head, and this means you're living intentional, you're living with the focus of, I'm ready to, get married. I'm ready to, I have a reason with this woman. Okay. And if you already have a number in your head that is totally going to sway you here or there, that needs to be established very early, day 1 or 2. Okay. If we're talking about grown people.
Right. So Marcus, then, do you want to tell us what your number is? That's your limit?
It can't be high. I don't care. It can't be high double digits. It could be low double digits. That's fine with me.
Look, that could be 10 or that could be 99. Okay, that's too high.
Well, that's actually the limit. The high of double digits is 99, but not probably like between between 10 to 15 partners. 10 to 15 partners.
Okay, great. So you go through. Now, are you dating, and that's day 1 that you're asking this woman that? I'm sure you're not 15 times sleeping with her to ask her, because then it doesn't matter.
Right. For me, I personally don't ask, but the way I do it is I see how the woman, carries herself, how she walks, how she interacts. If she has a lot of guy friends, if she's a little too touchy, too flirtatious. So that's how I'm able to
assign them a number based on what you see.
Yes, because not
I know
a
some
person
that'll
can
fool
say.
the hell out of you. That's all I'm
What was
saying.
that? What was that?
I know some will fool the hell out of you. You just wouldn't know.
Well, I mean, yes, obviously when I was younger and didn't know as much as I do in the middle, you know, like when I was like walking towards the middle of it and I started realizing like one girl at a time, I took the good and then I took the bad. And then also I took whatever I was doing wrong out and kept the good that I was doing for myself.
So one last question. I'm going to leave you alone. Now you meet this fine, beautiful young lady, right? And you gave her a 10. You gave her a 10, Marcus, and you be like, oh man, she got a 10. I know. And you've been sleeping with her for a year, and you find out that 10 got about 3 zeros behind it.
Oh shit.
Now what?
Yeah, now what?
Oh,
because you know what I'm saying? You don't know.
No, because but believe me, if you're a guy that knows your stuff, if you're a guy that knows your stuff and you've been around the block, because Rico, you said you were on demon time before. Yes. You know how girls, especially nowadays with social media and all this kind of stuff, you know, girls getting flown out in the DMs, all that kind of stuff. If they put it out on IG, yes, you know. However, I'm telling you, there's a lot of girls that look like the sweet little princes and whatever else, and they're not. Oh yeah, believe me, those are the freaky church choir girls, you know, that like the little Annabelles, you know, like they might be like, you know, a doll up front, but they're demon time.
You done gave them a 5 and they need 3 more zeros. You just
I don't know about that. Well, I don't know about that. I'm gonna press the eject button on that. But you know, but as far as that goes, like if guys know, because my brother, he was teaching me stuff that he knew around the 2000s, 2010s, when he was on his own, you know, basically reproducting a basketball team, basically. But you know, he was doing his thing, and he was like looking at the girls that he was dealing with and experiences, and he was letting me know when I was in middle school, all throughout high school, and then when I got out of high school, when I was in the military, just make sure you protect yourself because I've heard of stuff where women take advantage of men when they're, you know, offshores or overseas, and be careful that don't marry or don't wife up, don't pregnant every chick, you know, be careful because, you know, before you know it, your bank account's going to be 0, just like her body count will be 000, you know. But so, you know, just stuff that I learned vicariously, you know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out y'all logic, how y'all did this count thing, but I got you.
Hey, real quick, Rico, I want to just shout out a few people that's popped in. Big Rick Slaps, thank you for being here. I saw you on Instagram, so I was checking out a few of your, it was an old car show. And Mr. Prenup, Mr. Rucker, we saw you pop in for a quick second, so thank you also. You know, I always say, bring my money tonight, not today, tonight. So that was my, you know, on that poll, that was my contribution. And then we also had Manosphere pop into the chat. Thank you for stopping by. Your content is also great. Everybody, you know, especially for the women, or you want to hear the feminine conversations that, you know, reasonable and contextualized, man, definitely go check out Manosphere. Great content over there as well. But sorry to interrupt you, Rico. You were saying something to Marcus, but I wanted to shout them out before I forgot.
No, I was finishing up. I was like, he was educating me on how they, you know, do this body count. Now I'm hearing they ain't even asking; they just assigning a number. So I'm like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, because I don't like to do the whole, you know, take the number, then times it and divide it, then quadruple it, and then stuff like that. I think a more controlled man and a more like man in his senses will know, hey, she may say that she gives 5s or 10 body count. A lot of girls, they like to stick to the single digits or some stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, it's like instead of multiplying in your head and being kind of like lost in the math, just see how she carries herself. If she knows that she's too flirty, too touchy with guys, she has a big number of guy friends, like stuff like that, you know, like you see it as you go, how she moves, how she handles herself. If she's classy lady or if she's, you know, kind of too hipster. I guess that's the term they use in California. She's too hipster-like, you know.
All right. You've educated the old man. You learned something too, Jessica?
I ain't learned a damn thing, but that he don't know what the hell he talking about. That's all I learned. He ain't got no clue. That's all I've learned.
I mean, their strategy. We've learned their
strategy. That is not that. Okay, I got a feather. If it goes to the right, this is her number. And if it goes to the left, this is her number. Okay. That is ridiculous to me.
I never said that. That never came out of my mouth. I never said a feather. I know.
Marcus, that was,
See, that's my
point.
Hyperbolic. That's my point right there. He ain't never said a feather. That's my point. I didn't say you said a feather.
Okay, but that was interesting, though. I do.
Yeah, it was interesting. It says a lot. It says a lot about men nowadays. It says
Don't throw us all in there now. Some of us. I
said men nowadays. You seem like you're about my age, and plus you use the word fast. We used to use the word fast when I was growing up. So, R'Shaun, I don't know if it's R'Shaun. He seems younger. He might be in that category, but he looks like he's probably married. I don't know. I get the vibe that he's married, but I'm not sure. And I get. Well, you said you're married on this side, but I would think you probably might have had a divorce. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know, but and I could be wrong on both accounts. So I'm using.
You know, kind you got feathers.
Yes.
yeah.
But and then what Marcus was saying about the math, and she says she has 5 and do the math. Why did you even ask? If you're not going to believe in the first place, why even
I don't ask the question. No. I never said I asked the question.
No, you didn't. You said that you don't do the math. I didn't say you asked the question. You specifically said you don't do the math. If she says she has 5, then you divide and do whatever the math is.
No, I was saying the example of men. I hear the men doing that.
I know. That's my point. So you're not understanding. I'm just quoting what you said. Yeah. I know you wasn't saying that's what you do. You was giving an example. As I was doing, I was just quoting what you just said. And what I was leading into, that math quote or quotation or whatever is the same thing as though you're saying, well, I just follow her and see how she, a classy lady is this way. If she's on Instagram, is this way. Just because a girl is on Instagram or whatever, twerking her ass, don't mean she just gives it up freely. It really doesn't. It could go either way. It's a flip of the coin, either way. And then you said something about a woman, she's a flirt. I'm a big flirt. I was a flirt before it's just naturally in me. Got married at 20. I'm now 53. I got divorced, got married right after that. I had 2 men in my life since the age of 20, and I married both. Okay. I do not have a high body count, but I am a big flirt. That's just me, naturally. So where's my high body count?
There's a difference. There's a difference between a flirt when you're single and a flirt in a relationship. That's my point.
I've known a lot of women that were very flirty. I usually hated them because I would think I'm gonna get some and don't.
That was my point.
Don't get nothing.
So that's what I'm sitting there saying is a flirty woman. Oh, you see how she said hi to me? You see how she said
right? She ain't thought about you again.
Right. And they'd be like, "Shut up." She say that to everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "Shut up." No.
Hey, real quick, I do want to get Marcus out of that hot seat. I want to get Marcus out of that hot seat.
And
I want to ask
because my culture is a bit different. That's why my culture is more of like the more roles and like Rico, you're with a Latina woman.
Yeah.
Marcus, so yeah, right. So
it ain't culture, it's you.
I tried to get you out. I tried to
my
get you
culture
out
because I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico, so soy mexicano, no soy pendejo, ¿sabes? So mi papá es de Michoacán, tengo Sinaloa, todo eso. So what I'm saying is because the roles are different, okay? Right there, they respect more each other's roles. Both roles are respected for the man and the woman. The woman is more of the classy, more traditional role. The man is obviously the provider, protector. So that's why I'm saying I don't want a woman that lives very vicariously going to the club, to the bar, being flirty in a relationship. If she wants to be single and do that, be fine. Be one with the streets, but to the streets you shall return.
Well, yeah, that's a given. So I didn't know we were talking about women in the bars and the clubs and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. I mean, that was my point.
Hey, Marcus, if you don't mind, Marcus, we're gonna move this a little bit forward because we're like spinning our wheels on that one. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you about the question that we had moved on to with Rico, like with men using using relationships, like pretending in relationships to gain sex from women, and women offering sex to gain a relationship from men. What is your take on that dynamic? Do you think that's something we do? Is that even valid? Do you think that's something that's a fair exchange if we're both getting something that we want, even if we know the other person wants the opposite thing? Like, what's your opinion on that dynamic within, how we interact with each other? Kaya first, and then go ahead, Marcus.
So just to make sure I understand the question, wait, so are you saying that the man is saying something to get something from you, but he's not being honest, but he understands she's saying what she expects, and he's only saying that to get it, right? But in the end, you both got the sexual act is what you're saying. So that's just a liar. That's very deceptive. I've been through that. And I've said that when I first start, coming on these YouTube streets. And I just think that's wrong. Why not be honest? She might be at that same point as you, as I just want some too. Hit it and quit it by, if you're honest with her, who's to say? But now if you lie, that's a thief. That's deceptive. And I have no respect for that. And whatever you get in response to that is what you deserve. And I'll just kind of leave it there. But you never know if you're just honest and just express to her, I think you're cute, or I just want to hang out, maybe if we feel like it, we get to that point, but I'm not looking for anything more at this point. I think you'll get a lot better results with being honest with any given woman and you never know where that might go. It might develop a friendship. It might develop just a fuck call. I don't know, whatever, just a whatever, and it might not go nowhere. She might say no, but that is more respectful. That is more like I can deal with that. Because then I have the choice. And most of the time, you're probably going to get a woman that's going to still say yes, because then she's going to think like, okay, he think he just want me for one night. I'm going to show him he going to want me over and over again. Simply because you said that too, for the most part. So no, I have no respect if you lie just to get it.
What about you, Marcus? That dynamic that men and women do, that dance that we do to get what we want out of each other.
I think it's kind of similar, a little bit, kind of like what Kaya was saying. So it's like it's a trade-off, and it's kind of like it's a give and take. It's about like compromises and acceptance. But when it comes to sex, women control the access to sex. That's a fact. Women control the access to consent to sex for them, and men control the access to relationships and marriage. That's how I've seen it, overall experience throughout different decades and different eras of men. And then the women, like my aunties and my uncles in my life, my dad and my mom, and then other older gentlemen like yourself and to Kaya as well. Like it's just like a trade-off. And if the person doesn't want to have sex with you, you as a guy just can't be mad. Just move along to the next girl. And as a woman, it's like, it's if a girl really wants a relationship, it won't. I don't think it'll be a very pressured moment and a moment to have to be asked. They're going to want to be intimate with each other, whether it's lust, whether it's passion, whether it's love. It'll just happen without you breaking a sweat. That's how I look at it.
Real quick, I want to shout out Don Harden, who just popped into the chat. Hello, young lady. And we have bringing to the stage, Truth is Never Favor. What's up, brother?
Hey, my brother. How you doing today?
Shout out to Truth.
Doing pretty good. How you feeling?
Good. Hello to the lovely lady. Mr. Rico, how y'all doing today?
I'm doing well, sir.
Good.
What you got for us today, brother?
Nothing, just came in to tap in what you guys are seeing.
Okay.
Got the notification and everything, just checking and see what y'all talking about.
We knew a sex expert would show up.
Got him. Uncut with Daryl Long. Thank you for popping in with us.
No, bro. I've been out the game for about 3 years, bro. I'm on good behavior. Good behavior.
Off Marcus's demon time. You on that good time now, huh?
Yes, sir.
Let's appreciate that, man. Well, I wanted to ask you a question real quick, and Rico, you can finish up this question. Like with men and women, I mean, because a lot of us, if we're being honest, a lot of men use the possibility of a relationship to get access to sex. And a lot of women use possibility of access to sex to get the relationship aspects. If we're being truthful, that's kind of how a lot of it plays out. I'm not going to say most. I'm not going to give a percentage. I don't think that matters. But we know that's what's going on. If that's the case, are we actually, like Kai, being dishonest? Are we stealing from each other? Are we stealing time? Are we stealing years? Are we stealing energy? Like, is that dynamic actually fair, the way we use each other to get what we want? Because most of us are not being honest, like Kai said. And go ahead, Truth, you start us off. Kaya, Marcus, Rico, let's follow that line.
Yes, that's very dishonest, and it's a waste of time. I can't relate because I never needed to actually like lie or pretend or put on some type of facade to get what I wanted. But there are guys out here that do that. People out here are looking for love, and a lot of times we play to that. To their misfortunes, especially if somebody doesn't get it at home. I know one thing I can say is you can tell the vulnerability of a woman. Like, I never lied, but I can tell when they was vulnerable if they wasn't receiving a certain type of attention and love from home, which they would be a lot more open. And I could speak to that. And yeah, now that I am a man, I could say, for me, that's disgusting. And that's something that I did used to do. It's for me, it's disgusting. I don't believe in as a role of a man. That's not protecting women when you try to placate on their weakness like that. So, yes, you're taking away time, which is the most precious thing that we can't get back. You can get money back, but you can't get time. So for basically putting somebody inside of a relationship that ain't even authentic, wasting their time, getting their emotions, and then when they get from you, they got to build themselves back up, deal with that trauma. That takes time. So yeah, it's very unfortunate and unfair, and that's why to this day I speak out against it, because I actually was that cancer.
Definitely appreciate that perspective, Truth. Definitely, that was real passionate. I like the way you stated all of that. So appreciate that. Go ahead if you don't mind, Miss Kai. I know you kind of spoke on it a little bit, but like as far as the aspect of like, is that like a theft? Like, is it even fair to like? It's not right to. We're disrespecting each other, sure, but is it also like like you said, a theft of time? Is that like? Is there a true value to that we're stealing from each other?
It is. I do perceive it as a theft, just the dishonesty alone. However, I don't know what that noise is. However, given any situation, you should learn from it and grow from it. So I don't never perceive anything as a waste of time. And I 100% agree. I haven't seen the gentleman that just spoke. I 100% agree with him, but I have more respect that he has learned from what he's been through and acknowledge it. So I have total respect for that. And then I wanted to say and then everything else I said stand. But Chef said something about pretty girl privilege. I've never grew up with, I'm telling you guys that you guys probably don't believe me, but I was always the ugly duckling, always throughout growing up, junior high, high school, never the pretty girl. So I don't know
where that's model you.
Huh?
You must have been surrounded by beautiful women.
No. It was really the freckles. I think me growing up, I graduated high school in 86 and then junior high, like in the 80s. Freckles for boys my age, they just like something was wrong with me because I was looking different than everybody else. So I was never the pretty girl. I just want to throw that out there because I never had pretty girl privilege. I wish I would have used it to my advantage, believe me. And I would be here telling you today if that was the fact. But no, I didn't have boyfriends in junior high, high school. Never. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
So Kai, you never really had like male attention, like throughout middle school or high school?
No, I was always the ugly one. And I didn't conform to, like, I was never into clothes or dressing. I never tried to follow the crowd. I'm like, what? If I decide to do that, I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it just because you're doing it. And I kind of still had the same mouth, but maybe not as clever. And no, I didn't. Boys wasn't into me at all. Not at all.
They're lost.
But I will say I didn't go to a black school either. My mom bused me out to the Valley, so it wasn't a lot of black people there.
That might have had a teensy
maybe I did. Maybe so. I did not go to a black school. I wish I would have, but I didn't. So maybe that does have something to do with it.
A little bit.
A little bit.
What about you, Marcus? What do you think about what we're asking about?
So, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
No, just talking about, just going a little bit further into that exchange. I know you said it was dishonest too, and about being honest with each other is the best way to go about it. But as far as like stealing, we used to talk about, in an older time, people used to talk about stealing the best years of someone's life. Like that dynamic. Are we actually stealing a portion of someone's life by pursuing what we want, even though we know we don't want the same things? Like, do you consider that a theft, or is it like, is that a fair? Is that part of like all in the game? Like, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know. I just don't see. I don't look at it that way. I don't look at it as like a theft. I just look at it as like a chapter. That's how I look at it. Like, I don't really look at it in a negative way. I think there's trials, tribulations, there's losses, and there's wins. And whether it's sex or whether it's a relationship, that's how I look at it. I liked having a girlfriend, as far as relationship wise, because I knew just from what I saw growing up, I'd rather like to be in a relationship rather than hooking up a lot. But that was me, that's just me. But I don't know. It's just like everybody was saying here, was people's viewpoints on it is how they're gonna look at it. I just looked at it more, a chapter closes and a new chapter begins. I don't really look at it as like a time for me.
I get you. That makes perfect sense. What about you, Rico? Do you think it's a theft? Are we stealing people's youth, their best years?
Well, I don't know if I would call it a theft. I could agree with that, but I certainly call it a horrible fucking idea. Because when you think about it from the premise of, so if as the guy, I'm offering a relationship for the benefit of trying to get sex, and the woman, she's offering sex for the benefit of getting a relationship, at any given time, either one of them can decide if the woman grows tired of the relationship, well, the sex going with her when she moves on. Or if all of a sudden I get the sex and it's like, this shit ain't even any good, I'm taking a relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you get what you both wanted and you continue to get it. So I think this, even before you venture into, and that's why I do believe when people be like, I get the old saying, no sex before marriage. And I'm like, not in 2022. You just know. So you need to know that. So it's like, if Kaya said, I ain't giving it to you until you my boyfriend. Okay, I'll be your boyfriend. Then when I get it, like, this shit ain't even that good. Next week, I ain't your boyfriend no more.
That's
what I'm saying? Or you decide, oh, he's a lousy boyfriend. Oh, I can't get none next week. No, because I done moved on to somebody else. So I think it's a horrible idea. It is a waste of time. It is a theft of time. But it's just a completely horrible idea because, unfortunately, in the day and age, we know sex is a very big thing. And obviously, you safe sex, but you need to try each other's taste out to see to that liking, because no relationship is going to last without sexual compatibility on some level.
Definitely, so Rico. I thought you were going to say something different when you started saying we need to try each other's. I'm like, ooh, where's he going? Hey, real quick, I do apologize, y'all. I kind of set this up the wrong way because I put things in the wrong order on my paper. I actually had a couple of examples that I wanted to illustrate the point. I'll read one of them since we already gone over the questions. It was a post in a group that said, I'm pregnant. My boyfriend of 3 years doesn't want a baby. He's a physical trainer and said he loves me, but he has sex with clients after workouts. He says it's just a form of exercise, no emotions involved, and he gets paid. He says, I'm too insecure and I can leave if I want to. Will having this baby change him? So that was one of the things I wanted to use that illustrated how women, like, she's allowing, you know, access to her sex. He's still having sex with other people, but she wants that relationship. So that was like an illustration. I should have set it up better, but I failed. Forgive me, people. But when you hear stories like that, when people make those kind of choices, I know everybody said it was like disrespectful, but the part we play in our own bad outcomes. Like when you hear her say, "Will a baby change him?" What is that? What do you think? And how? Like, have we all met people that have done stuff like that? Thought marriage or a baby was going to change the person to the way they wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, let's go, Kaya, and then Truth, and then Marcus.
You know, I was on Red Lipstick Vibes yesterday, I think it was, and she brought that up, and that was the first time I ever seen any foolery, something so ridiculous as that. I have no respect for that whatsoever. I can't even begin to imagine that women do those type of things, and yeah. So anyway, you didn't put it up or anything, so I can look. Okay, what she has 3 kids. What is it again?
They've been together 3 years, and she's just now pregnant. Yeah, she's just now pregnant, and wondering if their first baby will bring him fully into the relationship.
Yeah. Okay. And he's having sex with clients, getting paid, but she knows about that, and she's evidently okay with that. He doesn't want a baby, but she's pregnant now, right?
Correct.
Okay. She's
not okay.
They need to go their separate, huh?
She's not okay with him sleeping with the clients. She's just aware of it.
Well, she's living with it. So she's okay with it
because she's still there,
right.
And he's still doing it.
Yeah, she's supposed to stay.
Okay. Right. So, they just need to go their separate ways. She and I do say this wholeheartedly. I don't believe in abortions. I wouldn't get one, but you know. Anyway, I would leave that there. But they shouldn't be together. They have a lot of self-evaluation to do. I truly believe that you cannot be in a successful marriage relationship, if that's the beginning for you, unless you're whole yourself. Because anyone that thinks a child is going to make things different. I got a whole bunch of single mamas that will prove differently. And I just think it's a very immature thought process, and it's not going to work. And then it's also with him saying, so essentially he's a hoe, he's a prostitute. He's getting, money for sleeping with women, and she's still staying there. That's a whole other thing. He has no respect for himself. He has no respect for those clients of his, and he has no respect for his so-called woman or whatever she is to him. That whole situation is just no bueno. I'm out. And I think it is a good idea to use, like, for an example. Ladies, this is a no. Just go. You'll do better off by yourself, and if they say go get a dog and die, then do that, because you're already in death. So anyway, I say flee. Go save yourself.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, the guy is a certified street stroller, so he's a professional at that. So I think her knowing that he's in that profession, I'll go with Kaya, what she said. They should just separate, go their own ways, unless at this point, maybe he's mentioned, maybe later on he didn't want to have kids, so that's why maybe she wants to enact on having a child now. So, and what I'm getting at is, you guys said that he's been married to her for the past 3 years. Maybe it's like maybe they're on the last thread. I don't know. Maybe they're on the last thread.
Married, they're just together.
Oh, okay, they've been together for 3 years. Okay, thank you. So, yeah, I gotta go with Kyle. They just gotta separate, because it looks like she said it up front at first, like, yeah, I'll be okay with this for now, but maybe I can convince him later, and maybe I can fold him or mold him later to how I want him to be for me. And obviously, he's putting his foot down on his boundaries. That's who he was up front, and she's not liking it. So yeah, just have respect for each other and your boundaries, and go your separate ways.
Hey, Truth, we're gonna get you next, but I wonder what Dominique is talking about. He said the worst part is when you I hope this is about another conversation. He said the worst part, let me put this up on the screen. Hold on. The worst part is when you have to put the dog food out for her before you leave in the morning. What? I don't know if that has a side conversation, but I'm like,
maybe
what?
she's not feeding their pet.
I'm confused.
I don't know.
She's not responsible
like,
enough to feed the pet.
I don't think it got nothing to do with this conversation.
I hope so. It was just weird, not the blue. I'm like, I'm confused. But it looked funny. But I'm like, I don't know where to go with that. But go ahead, True. What you think about that? Not that comment, but you know what we were asking.
Right. No, 100% agree with Kaya. Their whole situation is dysfunctional. They need to separate immediately, as soon as possible, because all they're doing is breeding trauma. It's the ignorance of a lot of females that they think they can change a man. We change when we become self-aware, when we grow up, when we mature. And again, this is speaking from experience. The child is not going to change him. He doesn't even want the child, which means he's not even going to be to begin to be a great father. He's not in it. You're trying to place unrealistic expectations on someone that is completely into themselves, and you can tell by his selfish behavior. And now you want that person to be a parent? Like, it's just unrealistic. They need to split up, do some self-evaluation. Obviously, is something there emotionally that they need to deal with. Just like I said, it's something there that is breeding the fact that he needs to do this for self-validation, and there's something there for she's there dealing with this and thinking that's suitable, like like this is something normal or obtainable, like we can continue to do this and sustain a decent relationship. And now that a child is coming in, this is going to fix that. So obviously there is something missing mentally and emotionally there that they that will even get her to think that. I feel sorry for the blessing that they got coming in, because now they got to make a choice. I do not agree with abortions. So Lord willing, they do not kill the child. If by chance they go full term, if they do not want a child, there are plenty of people out here that are yearning for a child, that are yearning for a blessing, and all they got to do is give it up for adoption. Unless she wants to take on that full responsibility as the mom, because unless his mindset just clicks in to say, oh yeah, I'm a full-time dad, I'm going to do this and whatever, which that's unrealistic. It just doesn't happen that way. They're going to have a lot more problems when the baby comes. So yeah, that situation needs to be terminated
immediately.
Definitely agree with you, Rico. We want you to go next, but I want to throw this in, and maybe you can speak to it first, and then we'll go down the panel. There are probably quite a few people who are in, men and women, who are in terrible relationships, one-sided, where like that guy and that woman, where somebody is using sex to control. You're at a disadvantage. Maybe that's the best way to say it. You're at a disadvantage. You want the relationship, the other person doesn't, and you are like probably you have a diminished value within yourself, like lower self-esteem, where you'll put up with something like that. How can you come out of that? What are some steps that people can use to think differently so that they don't deal with situations like that, to think that that's okay? Rico, you can talk to the situation, and then like if you could be the first one to speak on what's a way to address the concerns within yourself to move yourself forward so that you don't accept that.
The first part is I'll speak to that scenario that you gave, and I'm gonna take a different tact at it. Okay. Now let's pretend that this guy did want to have a kid, but he didn't want to have a kid with her. And this woman insists on having this kid. And this guy says, you know what? I'm going to stay with you. Because I do know that there are some young ladies out here who do believe that. Unfortunately, as crazy as that is, there are babies being born every day where they believe it's going. I believe that with some of my grandkids, whether their mother tell me that or not, because I told you that boy wasn't going to stay with you. But for whatever reason, but Mr. Young, I'm like, just leave me alone because it's just whatever. But what I'll say is this. Even if the guy stays, he's not staying for you, dear. He's staying for his child only. So would you want to imprison someone in your life? Because that's what you're doing. You're imprisoning him into your life so he can be with his child, and he don't care nothing about you. You can't capture his love with a child, and you shouldn't want someone to want to be with you only for the child. Because he's telling you that's and I can respect the man if he tries to make it work with you for his child, but eventually that child won't be enough. So he will leave anyway. So it's utter insanity. The mere fact that, if he was sleeping with other people, that should have been enough. That's telling you he don't want to be with you. And then you thinking you want to have a baby, he's still going to be out there sleeping with his clients, with the baby at home with you. Nothing's going to change because he doesn't want to be with you. He'll sleep with his clients and still come home and play with his son. So what? So you change absolutely nothing. I think it's a terrible thing. I do think it happens too much, especially in our community, but it happens in other communities as well. So let's be clear about that. Because as Truth said, women tend to think, primarily women, that they can change a man with a family, and that's not going to. He may become a family man, but he still ain't gonna become a husband. You can make him a father, but you ain't gonna make him a husband. That's two different things. So I think that's very, very horrible from that perspective, but it happens. It just happens way too much. As to the other question with the power dynamics in a relationship, that's very tough. I've been in situations similar to that myself, where unfortunately I was the lesser person simply because, I'm trying to make something work. Like on my second marriage, because I couldn't accept another divorce. So even though I was like, no, I'm not happy. She's not happy. Just whatever. I was like, I can't do it again. It was killing me inside. So you put yourself through a lot of unnecessary pain, trauma, struggles. Even though she was inflicting pain on me, I was inflicting pain on myself by trying to fix what's unfixable. Probably should have got therapy, never did, but probably should have. Probably could have got out much sooner. It's hard, because you find yourself in a space. It can breed, fortunately, I went through a little bout of depression, and I'll be honest with you. I just think through the grace of God, I had a really solid friend in my life, and he had went through a divorce before, because there were some dark, dark days that I had. And, I just couldn't get this guy to leave me alone. I'd come home from work. He'd be sitting on my porch with a 12-pack, and he's like, come on, we just going to talk. Don't worry about it. And he just really, it was a friend of mine. He's a best friend of mine to this day. And it was just like, all your other friends, when you go through that, they will fall off. But, if that's where you find out who your real friends are, your ride or dies, and so on and so forth, it's hard. I think I've been lucky and blessed with having people like that in my life. So I don't want to put out anything that someone says, well, Rico said do this, because I'm like, I don't know if that shit gonna work. I know I'm just giving an example of what worked for me, because really when I went through that second divorce, I had some really dark thoughts in my head. And I tell this guy today, I said, man, I love you, because I don't know what I would have done to myself during some of those periods, but I couldn't get you out of my house. And of course I ain't gonna do nothing with you there. But he would just sit there all night with me, and we'd be drinking, and he would just be talking to me. So I think this guy he taught me, and I try to always pay that back and to be that type of friend. So I always tell people, when you're looking for, you say, hey, well, I need friends like this, then be that kind of friend. Don't make it about what you want. Be that thing. And, you know, and that's what really helped me through. I think every case is a case by case basis. I don't have any wisdom on it, but I've been there. So I'm glad you brought it up. And I want to be honest to say that, yeah, I've been there where the power dynamic was with the woman, and I was fucking trash, just trying to get through, and had kids. So just like so much stuff going through my head.
But that was wisdom, Rico. I know you say you didn't have wisdom on it. I mean, but that was truly powerful too, because what you said, you had a support system, you had a friend that stuck by you, and you also spoke to the principle of giving, not in order to receive, but sometimes that law of, like, I don't know what it's called, like reciprocity, but you give, like, you know, you reaping and sowing. So I mean, you're giving it out, you know, you're giving the love you want, and it comes back to you. So I mean, those are both strong principles that you gave. So that is definitely wisdom, Rico. Don't sell yourself short. Just Kaya, do you have any advice for people that might be going through a situation where they're not in the relationship as fully, or the other person is not in the relationship as fully as they want them to be, and how to gain your personal power so that you can walk away?
Absolutely. And to piggyback off of what Rico just said, I was in the exact same situation in my second marriage. And it was the reverse. It was him not giving at all. And I did not want another failed marriage. I left my first marriage because he got on drugs real bad. Now I'm in my second marriage, and he's just not producing. He's not keeping his word. I was very, very deceived, but I still take ownership of that, because in the beginning, he never did what he said he was going to do. So I don't want it to come across that I'm blaming him. I am not. He said things and it never showed itself, but I stayed in there damn near 18 years because I wanted my family. I did not want another failed marriage. I truly believe that if I, gave my best, I wanted to make sure I gave him every opportunity to show himself, to show up, to produce, to do something. And then once I got to that point, but before I say this, so during that whole time, I was always working on me. Always. You never stop working on yourself. Even when you think you have arrived, you have not. There's more work to do. You should continue to work on yourself. You should continue to learn and improve yourself in every aspect of life. So throughout my totality of life, I'm always working on me. Even as great as I am, there's more I can do. Just saying, because I know that we feel we are great, and you should. But there's always more you can learn. So I've always been working on myself, always evolving, always trying to learn. So that's a nonstop. You continue to do that. With that being said, I went into my faith, I prayed, and I truly felt after all these years, I was released of this obligation. There is no more I can give. There is nothing else I can do. It's time to go. And I felt it was complete, that stage, that era in my life. And I had to go, and I got divorced. And I don't regret my marriage. I don't regret one day of it. It has continued to make me the person I am today. I'm here to share everything I've been through freely, truthfully, my story. And I know and I trust that it's going to help many people, many. And I might not ever know who it helps, but I know that it will. So with that being said, that's how you, given any situation, if you're always looking in the mirror, working on yourself, developing you, not to a selfish thing where you can't give to others, but you do have to be the point of attention, of growth, because you can't feed into other people if you're not. As long as you're continuing to do that, and that's a lifestyle for you, you can get out of, I would say, just about any situation and move on. And if it's meant for you to stay, I would like to say that I really think you would have some evidence of that if it's meant for you to stay. So, pay attention, stay awake, and whatever your faith or belief is, of course, rely on that. Reach out to people, the right people. Don't go to people that's going to tell you what you want to hear, and stuff like that. So it's a ever learning situation. Love life, embrace life. And one more thing. I truly believe if you just take the thought process purposely to always see the good, because with every negative, every bad, there is a good in everything. So if you would train yourself to focus more so, what is good about this? What am I getting out of this? How can this help me? Instead of just driving in on that negativity, I truly believe that would help the growth process and mature you as a person. Thank you.
I definitely like that. You had some very inspiring points too. So, I mean, spirituality helped you. Yes. Self-development, because you do have to empower yourself, because that is a power thing. You lack power to leave the relationship. So if your self-development empowers you, you can walk away on your own or examine if there's something to save within the relationship and give you the tools to do so. And then that last one, I like what you said. I heard a different way. Like any obstacle is an opportunity. So when you see something negative, there's a positive that can be taken from it. So you made some very great points, and I appreciate you, because I know somebody will probably be helped by that. And Truth, what you got for us, big homie?
Yes, sir. This is actually this is a good one right here. I can firmly and empathetically relate to Rico. I've only been married once, and in this marriage, because I didn't properly vet, I didn't understand, I sort of had like, this hero complex. That's what psychologists like to call it. I seem to think that I can love people through things, I can fix them. And this came back to really bite me in the butt, but it helped me grow. And with my, my ex-wife, it was a situation where I thought I could love her through, certain situations, certain traumas, certain problematic, tendencies, through her habitual tendencies and things like that. And it didn't pan out. People are going to do what they want to do, unless they have a sure foundation where they are conscious about others, and then also a foundation for me, a foundation with God. God is the moral compass. He's what provides the good and the bad. He's what constantly remind you that this world is much more than yourself. And for me, if you do not have a strong foundation in God, it's very hard, because it's an innate ability. It's innate in us to always think of ourselves, to be on, to get our way, to put ourselves ahead. Survival. Basically to step on the next individual. So in the relationship, with me trying to make sure the marriage worked, because the onus is really on the man when the marriage starts. God looks at us. And one thing is, I love my father, and I do not want to disappoint him. So I was all in. Divorce was not an option. And I tried my best for divorce to be not an option. Gave it my all. Everything I had in me, to the point where it was out of ignorance, because I didn't understand there are certain things that you do, and then there's certain things that you don't do. And then where this person had now exceeded not just being my wife, but now I had found myself underneath of her and doing things that I was not supposed to, being acceptable to things that I'm not supposed to be acceptable to, and not setting a standard and a foundation for how a man is supposed to be, regardless. That happy wife, happy life thing. It plagued on me, and it ran its course in a negative way. Where I'm a firm believer in a man is supposed to do everything. He takes care of his wife. My wife was not working. I took care of everything. You see what I'm saying? But with that being said, it's things that she was supposed to do as far as her role, as far as what God expects her to. And those things weren't being fulfilled. And because divorce was not on the table for me, I was acceptable to that, where it was breaking me down, though, as a man. And like Rico said, though it was some of the darkest days. And then once the divorce actually hit, the brokenness that I felt, the actual brokenness, where I had, it was days I was, man, truly, because I never had felt pain like that before. Nothing had hurt me like that before. Nothing. Where, literally on the floor crying because I was in pain, spiritual pain. Crying and asking God to help me with this. Like, help me, because I was so broken and hurt. And when you get with an individual like that, you have to realize that certain things that you can allow and can recuperate and reconcile from. And then if that person wants to leave, you have to allow them to leave, because unknowingly they can replace you as their God, as God. You'll start, it's not that you're worshiping them, but because of what you're allowing, the only person you give up your life and own to that is God. And it took a lot of rebuilding for me as a man after that point. The blessing was I was so broken, and the only person I could turn to was God to actually fix that and heal that for me, and it speeded up my relationship with him. It showed me how to cry out for him. It showed me how to turn to him completely. It built my faith. It built my core foundation, where now I only rely on him. In my expectations of other people, I no longer allow those expectations that, oh, this person is not going to hurt me. No, I expect them because they are flawed in their own right. We're all flawed. We're going to let each other down. So now that those expectations are no longer there, I can now guard my heart. Proverbs says, guard your heart, because out of it is the issues of life. And those type of things we need to carry on into all our relationships, whether it's just regular relationships of getting to know people, our businesses, and then as well as most importantly, our marriages. So, we got to be more careful. I came out of that understanding that I no longer will allow myself to willfully and intentionally hurt somebody. And I'm also consciously of indirectly hurting somebody. So I won't even get involved with you unless it's of purpose now.
Nah, that's good stuff right there. So your spirituality helped you overcome as well by building yourself up with faith and belief that you deserve better through like the foundational principles of the word. So
well, not so much that I deserve, but that of what God expects the marriage to be. It's not about me, it's about him.
Standards.
It's a standard that he expects. Yeah. And that I have to hold my wife and myself accountable that we are representing his union the proper way. That's where the problem comes in.
Gotcha.
Great story, Mr. Truth. Great story.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, like you said, when you spoke about that broken part, and that's probably been the only time. Like I wasn't broken after my first marriage, but that second one broke me, and I had never been broken in my life by like that because, and it's the same thing with Kaya. It was like I feel at that point my entire life was an epic failure of everything. And I mean, I was thinking about checking out because of the failure. It was just overbearing. It was like, this is, and I was busting my tail because I've really been through, like, you've been through one and you like, damn, am I not any good for anybody? I mean, come on. That was, it was crazy. I ain't gonna go any further than that because I mean, and the thing is, like my second wife, she's not even here, and my wife was the same thing as you kind of described, Mr. True. She had habitual issues, and they took her out, and she's been gone. Matter of fact, the same year I got married the third time since 2014. And she was 40 something years old. She went out for habitual issues. So my kid's mother, she's gone. And I spent the entire time of that relationship, and I never had that problem. As you said, I was trying to save her. We're gonna get married. I was doing all that. So you become so heavily invested in someone. So you're that heavily invested, and the failure. I mean, you had everything coming into you, and you just be like, "Oh, just take me out. I can't." And it was that friend. I'm telling you, I'm here today because of that friend. And God, somebody said, you go down there to this fool's house every single day. And I said, he wouldn't let me. And I don't think he knew what I was thinking. But I mean, I would get off from work and he worked like 5 minutes from where we lived. So I had to, so he knew, oh yeah, Rico be home by then. And he'd be sitting on the porch outside. I got the 12 pack. Come on in, let's go watch the game. And he would never let me sulk in it. And I wanted to. I was wanting to go to that place because I was just so broken. But he wouldn't let me. And I'm here today because he wouldn't let me until the cloud lifted.
Amen.
Yeah. This is exactly the same. I mean, because as men, we already got the burden of being a man. And then that's what I felt like. Again, I felt I let God down. And then I felt, I let my children down. And then, like, me being a man, and I'm like, what? And I used to, like I said, I used to ask her, I'm like, what else do you want? And the thing is, what made it so bad, and later on, I'm gonna be more transparent on my show. I'm gonna share this with everybody. But she even came to me. She said, "You're a great husband." She actually told me that. She still tells people to this day. It's just you're not God. You can't change people. You can't deliver them from certain things. They have to either be delivered through those things prior to y'all getting together, or you're gonna have to go through that whole entire fire. And that thing, like you said, it can be so detrimental to the point where you want to check out. And that's why it's so imperative that I tell people that they need a relationship with God, because that pain, it was nothing nullified it. It literally nothing, no going out, no partying. I wasn't messing. I couldn't mess with no other women, nothing like that. None of that other type of stuff nullified it. I was so hurt. The only thing, crying out and praying, the only thing that him constantly reminded me that he would never leave me nor forsake me. Scriptures constantly being brought to my mind and everything. Me praying, crying. I had to crying out and just feeling a comfort over me, just to keep going. So yeah, I totally empathize with Rico, that darkness, that dark space, and I wasn't proud of myself. I really felt like for the first time I felt broken and failure as a man, and you know it was tough, man. It was tough. Whew.
Yeah, appreciate y'all both for sharing for real. Cause that's real serious stuff, and a lot of people don't speak to, especially in public spaces, the things we go through, how we dealt with it, and how we overcame. I mean, because you have to admit you had a problem to say you got over it. So a lot of times we don't hear those stories. So I mean, I really definitely thank you both for your willingness to share. But I wanted to hear also of Marcus if he had anything to contribute on, how to overcome that lack in the relationship. When you're at a disadvantage, when you're pouring in, like you said, investing in something that's not a sinking ship. How do you pull yourself out? How do you empower yourself to walk away? So Marcus, if you have anything to share with us, please, you can tap on in, please.
Well, first of all, I want to say I appreciate everyone's stories here, and it was hitting me because a lot of the stories all of you were saying were similar to things that I witnessed, saw in the downfalls of relationships, the good and the bads of it. So I appreciate everyone, and I'm blessed that you guys are all still here today because some people aren't here because of certain things and how they couldn't. It was just so hurting in their heart. They're not here in this earth. So I appreciate everyone here still being here as well. So God bless all of you. But I think the thing that was screaming at me in my head when Rico was speaking was it was so related to my brother's experience in his first and only marriage so far, with his kids and his ex-wife, baby mama, and I remember him going through the same thing similarly, where they had their problems. They would constantly argue. It was bad. It was really, really bad. And it was somewhat toxic to very toxic. And I remember the baby mom would say, like, well, your first child, she's not yours, blah, blah. And my brother just didn't want to admit it, or who knows if she really is or not to this day. But he didn't want to hear it. And he would just like blow her off. And they still had 2 more kids after that. And he was the breadwinner. He was the one coming home. And I always asked him before he had every kid, every time he was leading up to having another kid, I was just like, are you with her? And I kind of somewhat subconsciously knew why he was still doing it was because deep down he didn't really have both my mom and his dad in his life as much. And they were separated at a very young age. And so for him, his way of trying to, similar to Enrico, is to make this work. And I want to give my children the chance to have a family. So that's very commendable and respectful. And so when I was hearing Rico say that, it was just hitting me because the same talk that I sat down with my older brother, because he's my big brother, and I was telling him this, and I was learning from him as much as I'm learning from Rico and my dad. It's always about duty, and this has been ingrained in me since I was young when I saw my father do it with my mother. And it sucks because you have to mush down your feelings for the moment, because it's not about you. It's about the others around you in that room, sitting at that table, eating dinner, making sure they have the roof over their head, and the clothes on their back and stuff. So it was hitting me a little, and I can understand and feel my brother's pain even more now, similarly to what Rico said was going through in his second marriage, and Kaya as well, how she went through her struggles as well, and how it was hard for her. And it just, it just makes me appreciate that people have these spaces to speak about it. And as far as for myself, I think I've only had one bad experience when it comes to relationships that was really bad or toxic. All the other ones were actually amicable to, we broke up in good terms and stuff. But I think the toxic one was me ignoring the red flags that I was with my last ex about 6.5 years ago back. And it was just, everything from the mental diagnosis she had, the medication she would take, things that she was going through, the fact that she would go speak to a psychiatrist or a therapist, and things like this that maybe I should have took a step back and said, am I going to be able to handle this? Am I going to be able to, how can I maneuver this? Am I going to be like Neo, dodging the bullets in the Matrix? how can I do to save someone? Because like similar to what Truth said, maybe I could try to attempt to save maybe this woman, and I can be her knight in shining armor type thing. And before I knew it, I'm like, you know what? I'm young. I'm about 21 years old, and she's about 29. The world is still my oyster, but I still want to have that relationship with her. And it just sucks because I knew that along the line, I just, you know what, this isn't going to work out. She still had her dad issues, her ex baby daddy issues. And I was just still like, I was building myself up as I was going at that time. So long story short, it didn't work out, and I'm here now. I'm grateful I'm still here. There were times where I wanted to throw in the towel, as far as mentally, and I was trying to be the stoic rock at times, a lot of times for that relationship, even though I was the younger one, and she had a kid, and I was just trying to save strong face for her child, and it just didn't work out, and it's a shame, but at the same time, I take the good with it, and then the bad I just leave out, and I learn from it, and I'm still here and talking to all of you, and I'm grateful for it. So God bless you all.
Man, God bless you too. I'm glad you're here. Glad the gentleman and the lady are all still here.
Amen, bro.
I think that's something too. We all have to acknowledge sometimes, and we fail to, that people are going through a lot in their lives. Life is a struggle. It's a constant struggle, and it wears people down. So we need to extend grace to each other, a little more love, a little more grace, a little more understanding, because you never know at what point someone is. Like Rico said, it's strange he said that. I just watched a clip of Kevin Gates, the rapper, who talked about what he was getting ready to self-delete because he just didn't feel appreciated as the breadwinner. It was just coming too hard on him, and he was ready to check out. And it was a guy on his way out of the gym that said, "You have no idea how important your music is to me." He was like, "Man, when I walk out of here, I'm pushing myself out of here." And the guy, hugged him and talks about it, like, "You have no idea how important you are to people. You, through your music and your story, is saving other people from doing what you're feeling like doing." And that's one of the reasons he didn't do it. So, God does put people in a situation where the right person will walk in with the right message at the right time for a lot of people. Some people, unfortunately, don't hear that right message, but I'm glad everybody here did receive the love when they needed it and are still here to tell their stories, and other people can grow from it. So, that's really powerful. I appreciate you all for sharing. I see somebody is popping in the back. I can't see who it is. Give me a moment. Queen Forever. Yeah, let's bring her up to the
Queen.
Welcome to the Queen.
Where'd she go? Did I hide her? Did I bring her? There she go.
No, there's
Queen.
the Queen.
Out, Rico. R'Shaun. You kicking me out?
Oh, kicking you out? I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. Glad to have you, Queen. How you feeling tonight?
Guys? Hey,
welcome home. Welcome home.
I'm trying. I'm home.
And real quick, shout out to Ill Doctrine. I see you in the chat. He said Rico be all up in these YouTube streets. Yeah, he does. But I don't know if you heard of what we were on, Queen. Did you have anything to add on that topic about gaining your power back so that you can walk away from an unhealthy relationship, or to develop it or nurture it so that it becomes healthy?
I think sometimes you don't know how unhealthy something is until you're already in it. Because of situations that you may have thought of that were, you just go, "Oh, that was nothing. I got through that." But then later on, when you're in a similar situation, the triggers that come, I think it's important just to be aware, like having that self scanning, like, what's going on with me? Like, what is this doing to me? And being willing to get the help. I don't think anybody's ever equipped to save, change, or carry another person's baggage, but you are equipped to change yourself and to learn and grow from the situation and give the person the space to do the work. Now, if the person's not willing to do the work, then I don't think it's going to work out. Like, I don't believe in, I do believe that many situations can be mended. I believe that there are a lot of things that can be worked out, that can be put back together, but both people have to be willing to put in the work. Like, kind of like what I said on the lady stream, you know. But I think when you come into a relationship, you know, like I said, you have to be honest about things that are coming up for yourself. But if you don't do the work previous to that relationship, you just bring everything you had from the previous relationship into your new relationship. Like, I think everyone should take a pause when they break up to really figure out themselves, because that particular relationship has changed you in some way, you know? And I think in order for you to be your better self, you have to give yourself the space to go, what's different about me? I haven't had many toxic relationships. Thank God. I believe, like, there was one situation that was really bad, but I felt like the worst one wasn't even a dating relationship. It didn't even get to that point. It was someone who we mutually liked each other, but we were kind of taking our time. We were friends. And I guess because I wasn't moving the way this person wanted me to move, they decided to go and get with someone else. And they were throwing this relationship in my face because we kind of were in the same circle to a certain extent. But if it was like a big event that, you know, we shared mutual friends, so we were kind of always at the events together, this person would like seek me out to find me. But I was like, why are you seeking me out? You have a relationship. Like, leave me alone. I've moved on. So it was very toxic because I felt like, because I was making this person uh, wait, meaning that I wasn't ready to say, yeah, let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, I was just like, I'm still trying to get to know you. I don't want to mess up the friendship. I'm still trying to figure you out. Like, you just left your baby mama. Like, you got some soul searching to do. You got to figure some stuff out, you know. They just jumped into a different relationship. And so then it was like, oh, let me put it in your face kind of thing. But yeah. So I think that was the worst one. Yeah, because I kind of snapped and was gonna really do some things, but anyway.
Yeah, definitely. If we can, I definitely appreciate you sharing that, Queen. That's definitely good stuff, and I want to speak on that in a quick second. But Marcus has to step down. Marcus, did you want to say any parting words?
Oh yeah, just thankful for the panel. Thankful for this YouTube channel. Shout out, subscribe to N3 Knowledge and Relationships. Shout out to R'Shaun. Shout out to Uncle Rico. Shout out to Just Kaya, Queen, Truth, everyone out there. You all know who you are that I mess with, and I always shout out to your guys' YouTube channel and others. Just appreciate your conversation, your guys' vulnerability to open up, and God bless, and I hope prosperity and all to you all. Very much.
Same to you,
Salute
Marcus.
to you,
Have a
brother.
good
Thank
night,
you.
Marcus.
Appreciate
Have
you.
a good
Thank
night.
you for all your love and support, Marcus. We
Absolutely,
do it,
yes.
we do it with you guys, and we do it for you and with you. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much as well. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, sir. Just real quick, as he's exiting, something Queen said reminded me that, like, the opposite side of the thing, like, I've fallen on the other side. I've been the person who was, I guess, was taking advantage. So I was in a relationship I was in. I was unreliable, and I mean we had these conversations. I was unreliable. My word wasn't good, and I put my familial relationships ahead of our relationship. So I mean, she had to confront me on that too, because I would run, I would leave. Like, we might be in an event or somewhere, and my sister or my mother, because I grew up with all women, so I was like, all the women didn't have guys, so I was the guy that handled all the emergencies. Like, I mean, to the small things from light bulbs to spiders and mice to the big things like my boyfriend is a chump and I need him out of here and he's not leaving. And you know what I'm saying? So I was the go-to guy. So in my relationship, I wasn't fully present for her because I'm overcommitted in other people's relationships. And because she loved me, I leaned on that love too much to her, the relationship's detriment. It's because I had other people I was putting them above. I was putting my wants above our relationship. So I was I will say the toxic one in that dynamic. And I did that for some time. It took a lot for me to see myself as the person who was taking advantage in a relationship. Self-awareness is not something a lot of people naturally happens. It took, a lot of conversations and other people to say something too, because I just thought she was making, you're making a big deal out of stuff. Like, it's really not. So, I mean, they say gaslighting now, but, I was like, well, it's my family. It's my mother. What am I supposed to do? Just leave them on the side of the road when their car breaks down? Well, they should have AAA. You shouldn't be leaving at 11:30 at night because they went drinking and the car broke down and I'm leaving the bed with you to go save somebody else. Like, there is a boundary that you have to have in relationships. And I was one of those people that I abused that relationship by not setting firm boundaries and prioritizing my relationship. And you don't necessarily have to have the wrong intention when you do things. You have to consider the impact. So that was my issue. I had to grow from that to do better. So, I mean, hopefully somebody else would, no matter which side of the spectrum you fall on, the person who needs to get the power to leave or the person who needs to see themselves reflected so you can do better for the person that you love and say you love too. Like, there's two sides of it. And I think we all need to do, like Kaya said, continually self-improve. And like Queen also said, you need to also like get feedback. Like, you need to see where you are in the relationship. You need to look at yourself. So that's really important
I
stuff.
do want to add that I think the person was not ready to date. I think the person was trying to shut his baby mama and her, like that relationship breaking up, and just filling it with a new one. And so I didn't feel like, and I think that's part of the reason why, because we were friends. We had these candid conversations, and I would say, hey, I don't think, I don't think you should be thinking about anybody right now. This is before the interest in each other developed. Um, and so I was just speaking as a friend, like, dude, I think you still are hurt that she left you or that relationship dissolved, and I think you need some time to figure yourself out. What happened? What were the things that you have to tell me? I told him, I said, well, what were the things that irked her about you? What were the things that irked you about her? Like, what, you got to go figure that out before you think about any other chick to get with, because you haven't dealt with it. You're carrying around all that baggage, and you have years in history with this person. You have a kid together. The kid is, I think the kid was like 7, 8. So you've been together 7, 8 years of this child's life and 5 years prior to the child. So this is not a short-term relationship. This is someone that you thought you were going to marry. Like, and so you got to figure that out. And then it became, man, you're such a great friend. So I think that's where the interest sparked. And then I was still like, nah, but you ain't dealing with it. I'm a friend. Don't see me as nothing else. I'm not trying to become nothing else until you check this, because you still are running. Now I'm not that. Don't even go there. So it was like, it was crazy. You would, like, literally, like, let's just say, um I worked in, I don't know where you guys are from, but I'm just going to use New York as an example. I worked in Manhattan, but I lived in Queens. He lived in Long Island and he worked in Connecticut, and he would show up to my job. And I'm like, what? Like, I would just pop up and be like, what are you doing here? Like, then it became like, I felt like I was being idolized, or kind of like put on this pedestal that I had no right to stand on, and I was not going to sit on, So then it became like, dude, you've taken our friendship and now you've crossed the line. Don't ever show up to my job like that. Don't ever show up to my house like that. Who do you think you are? You're not my man. Like, no, you crossed our friendship. So, so yeah, so then that's why I said it kind of, I didn't really explain how toxic it became. And then that's when he hooked up with the other chick, and then he started showing up at events. And, I mean, I would get phone calls. Hey, Queen, where you at? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I just walked in. Go to the left. Meet me at Coat Check, huh? So and so's looking for you. And I was like, look, I ain't dealing with that. Like, y'all better handle that, or somebody getting hurt tonight, and it ain't gonna be me. Like, I'm gonna pick up something and knock somebody out. Like, don't play with me. You're not gonna mess up. Then it became like, you're not gonna control or mess up my life or my fun because you haven't figured yourself out. Like, that's what you're not gonna do. So that's why I said it became crazy and toxic.
Appreciate you, Queen.
He is our
Appreciate the
Chi-Town
clarification.
sex expert.
Yeah, yellow. Yellow.
No, man, I don't know nothing. I came to learn, man. That's all. I just came to learn.
How you feeling tonight, yellow?
Man, I'm all good, man. All good. I was moving around, doing some other shows, some networking and stuff, man. So come on up and chop it up with you. What's going on, everybody? Kaya, Truth Never Favorite, Queen 2K. What's going on, y'all?
Not much, sir. Not much, sir. We were just talking about
What's going
gaining
on,
your
my
power
dude?
back, pretty much, in relationships. Like, you ever been either? Everybody had different stories, but for the most part, at least all of us, I think, had at least one situation where we were probably like at a disadvantage in the relationship. Like, we might have been too heavily invested where the other person didn't return the energy or the time or the love the same way we thought we deserved it. And it might have been because we didn't value ourselves properly. We thought we didn't want to end the commitment because we thought it was failure. Like, we all had different reasoning. But like, have you ever seen somebody or been in a situation where you had to get your power back? Like, where you had to either walk away of the relationship, but you had to build yourself up to do it, or like, you had to like, well, let's evaluate the relationship and let's pour more different way to save it. Like, like kind of dynamic.
Or was you a G like R'Shaun and you was the power in the relationship? He left
That wasn't
part
cool,
out, right?
man. That wasn't cool.
He
That wasn't
left
cool.
that part
I
out,
wasn't being
right?
cool.
Where he was
Yeah,
the
man,
G and he was
that,
macking. Okay.
that was like, I ain't trying to be like that, but yo, I ain't know you seem kind of reserved, Arshawn. I ain't know you had the pimp hand in you too,
But
though,
that's what
brother.
I'm
It's
saying.
quiet. It's quietly
It was
down there. You know what I'm saying?
it was unintentional, man. I was unintentional. I was unintentionally hurting somebody. So I mean, if you don't know, you don't even know what you're doing. You're just not taking somebody serious. It's easy to hurt somebody you're not taking serious.
I'm thinking of a situation with myself. So I was engaged to be married. Uh, this is maybe like 2011.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was 2011. Um, and it just something about it didn't feel right. Like, I loved her, and I think she loved me, but I'm never really 100% sure on that. 100% sure on that with women. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. Like, I give you like, I'll be sure like maybe 90%. But I always and that's probably just my own defense thing. Like, I leave myself that little room to be like, oh, okay, cool. I wasn't wrong. But honestly, she just didn't click. But it's just like, I kept giving it to her to the point to where it was stressing me out. I was working, and she was kind of at home taking advantage of it. And I don't mean in a way like the woman should, because I'm cool with that. If I'm providing, you know what I'm saying, enjoy yourself. Shit. You know what I'm saying? I want to provide you a life, you know what I'm saying, where you can enjoy yourself. But don't make it seem like, you know what I'm saying, I gotta do this, or you know what I'm saying, you don't make me feel like I'm slaving for you almost. Because that's not what it is. That's not what it's gonna be. But it was just too many. It was too many things that I was not gonna get. Like, I was young and I didn't have kids, and I didn't realize that I probably wasn't gonna get kids from her. This is the chick. I don't know if we had talked about the kissing thing. This is the chick I was talking about. Don't use tongue when she was kissing from last night, Kaya. That was my ex fiance. She didn't use tongue when she kissed, so I couldn't get that. You know what I'm saying? She ain't really like. I don't even know why I asked her to marry me because she really ain't like give your boy no Gawk 3000 either. So I don't even know why I asked her to marry me. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the tipping point was the fact that I called her. I had like seasoned some ground beef, right? And I told her to make some burgers for when I come home, right? And when I got home, man, this ground beef was still sitting in the refrigerator. And I asked her, I was like, why, like, what happened to dinner? Like, why you ain't cook the burgers? And this woman told me that she don't touch raw meat. I told her she had to get out right then and there. I dumped her instantaneously. I know you got to go, like right now. You got to get out. You got to go. I can't get nothing. So I'm like, why you don't touch raw meat? It's just a thing. I'm like, well, it's not gonna be a thing here. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be a thing here. And like, no, I feel like I'm giving up too much, and I can't even get that out you. You know what I mean? So I'm glad I seen that writing on the wall, man. I did. I really did.
That was a smart move there.
Yeah, definitely. And we're gonna switch it all the way up. We had a Twitch community question. It's gonna be a total switch up, but we had a pin from M3. If we had all met as children, do you think we would have gotten along? I'm just tell y'all, when I was a kid, I just wanted to go play outside or go inside and play video games. So if you ain't want to just like run around in the alley or the street and throw a ball around or play video games, we wouldn't have got along. So anybody would have got along with me?
What's the age group?
Ooh, let's say 10.
We're all the
Let's go with
same
10.
age.
So we was all like, 13. Let's get a good right
13?
age. We was all 13. Yeah, we was all 13.
Ooh, by then I was getting into rap music.
Okay.
Messing around with me, we all going to jail.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I've been down baby bookers.
I was friends with everybody, but we were doing everything wrong.
Yeah.
We were
going to hoop
first. We were doing a lot of stealing at 13. I was at the mall stealing everything.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was doing a lot.
I would have probably just helped you out and bought it for you.
Yeah, I know. I had to steal all my mom's cars.
You ain't stealing with me in the neighborhood. No,
I'm telling you,
man.
All my friends was. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't start it. Hell no.
Yeah, but your friends ain't involved. They said if we were friends, so you wouldn't have been at no mall stealing because we would have been better influences over you.
Okay.
So you
I'd have been with Queen reading a book.
That's right. We would have been at the playground. We would have been at whatever party, block party. Now I ain't do the library. That was punishment. We'd have been at the block party. We would have been at, yeah. So yeah.
But yes,
I had fun.
We would have been friends.
We would have been friends. Without a doubt.
We would have been friends. And for R'Shaun first, I could be friends with everyone. But with R'Shaun, I would have been getting on his nerves because I would tease him all the time about the video games. And I would hang out with him just to tease him a little bit, get on his nerves until he kicked me out. But we'll still be friends. I wouldn't play the games. With Rico, we still would be friends. I will be there. So, like, you remember that role? What movie was that? When he came home after he couldn't do it and he's crying to her and he's just letting it all out. But then when he go back out there, he's like, he's still doing what he's doing. So I'll be that friend to you. You can come and vent it all out. No one is just going to stay there and you can cry. You can do whatever you want. So that's the type of friend me and you friendship we have with Yella. Me and Yella be in the streets just getting on everybody's nerves, just being us and being
Mm-hmm.
cool. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know truth is forever, but just from what I've heard, the one story or so, I will also be friends with him. I think we'll probably like be on the phone and he'll be telling me some, about a girlfriend he like, maybe, whatever he's going through. Now, Queen, that's a different story. I don't know
What?
because
Oh wow!
because no, let me
Wow!
tell you, because Queen's gonna be telling me about me. And at 13, I wasn't ready to hear anything about me.
What you gonna tell me about me?
Right, that part. So I think for sure we still would be friends, but I would get on her nerves, not trying to. And I think it would just be that classic, like I'm an only child. So to be like that classic type sister thing, like we get along, but people think we don't like each other. Like we'll probably fuss, but we're still just always friends. So that type of thing. But absolutely, I would be absolutely friends with all
That's
of you guys.
funny because that's how my friends were at that age. Like
See?
we would like literally argue and
Mm-hmm.
then like, I'm coming to you. I'll be at your house at
Right.
2 o'clock for dinner. Okay, see you
Right.
later, girl. So
I,
Like
yeah.
nothing happened.
I was just about to say that when I was 13, that's all girls did was fuss at each other. That's all I ever saw.
Exactly.
Yeah, from what I seen, we'd probably be all cool. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like you talking about 13? That's when I just started getting into girls. So I don't know. I've probably been trying to sneak around on a slide, try to holler at Kaya.
But wouldn't know what to do if she talked back to you. Because that's how I
Right.
was all out. Oh, I'm going to try to get her number when she give it to me.
Yeah, I'd have been the one after we got finished hanging out. We hanging out. Once we everybody going home, I've been snuck down the street with her on the slide.
Because here's the thing. You were shot down so many times, you expected to get shot down. And she's like, oh, here's my number. You're like, well, I'm supposed
that
to
would
do
be
with
me.
it. Call it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, appreciate that switch up from Amy Chibi over at Twitch. I got another question for everybody. We were the next category that we wanted to talk about that we're gonna go around on, and this is definitely with you, Rico. Sexual borders. Have you crossed over? So now people in the past, recently on another stream, tried to come at Rico, saying that he needed to give up his black card because the third wife he married was non-black. So how does color or nationality change the dynamic with sex and relationships? Like, why is it that line is such a hard one to cross? So I want to get you guys' opinions. We're gonna start with Yella, Queen, Just Kaya, and then Truth. Go ahead,
So
Yella.
Rico's current wife is
What was the nationality, Rico?
My current wife is Salvadorian.
mm-hmm.
She's Central American.
Okay. So the question is, how can being with a woman that's non-black affect what now?
Like just in general, like how does nationality and color change the dynamic with sex and relationships? Like, does that even impact the
Oh,
relationship?
okay. I
And
got what you're saying now.
and why is that such a difficult line for us to cross? Why is there so much emphasis put on that?
Okay, I'll answer this like this. Cause I really only like black women. You know what I'm saying? And I really only be with black women. I just look at it as the booties ain't as juicy on the other side. So you know what I'm saying?
My wife ain't got no booty.
Do you know what I'm saying? They just ain't got they ain't got the thickness to smack on. You know what I'm saying? You can't get the good, you know what I'm saying, the good wave, you know what I'm saying, when you give it the good smack. You know what I'm saying? But it is a different way to view it though. I don't really see there being no problem with it. It just get weird because I think people's main thing is they view the person who's in the other relationship. Okay, so like I'll even make it like this. I think they hating on Rico because they want because especially if the women, because they probably want him. And mad because he over there on the other side of the fence. And I think that's what it be just as an example, that'd be what it'd be for a lot of men, because they see him and be like, well, why he ain't pick me? I mean, well, you know, you really want him to come tell you? Because then he gonna be because then he gonna hate black women. So you know what I'm saying? Is no, I'm just saying I'm just saying like I'm saying they don't want to hear the explanation because they're not gonna take it as like real talk. And I think
they're
that's
just gonna create the narrative that you hate black women instead of
yeah. Instead of like taking it like that. And don't get it twisted, black women, men do that shit too. Men do that shit too. Men to see some celebrity chick with some white dude and get mad. You know what I'm saying? We probably won't like be as I don't know though. I got a good eye for it. Like I got a good eye for like noticing the women that like white boys and shit. Like they got just something about them. You know what I'm saying? It's just me. It's just me. I ain't hating. You can like who you like, but I be kind of seeing it. That's why I I try to avoid them. I mean, I'm bright, but you know what I'm saying? They gonna hear that Negro come up out of me and be like, yep, nope, nope, I knew it.
Yellow pill.
Look, you just took the high from in front of your name. Because you know, we used to back in the day call your ass High Yellow. You
right,
just took the high out, right, Kaya?
Right.
Yep.
What you got for?
Oh, real quick, Rico. I'm not allowed to say yellow, so I don't want to get in trouble.
No,
I get in trouble on my
you're not allowed to say
for
light
talking
skin.
the way we was talking growing up.
Oh.
So I'm
You're not allowed to say
colorist,
light skin.
so I cannot. Oh, I can't say yellow or light skin. So
No, you can say
I'm just
yellow,
letting you know,
but you
Rico
can't say light
and
skin.
R'Shaun. I can't say light skin.
Thank you for letting me know.
But I do.
Queen, you with us?
Yes. What was the question?
So does color and nationality change the dynamic with sex and relationships? And why is that such a hard line for us to cross?
No, I just think if you're gonna be with someone, be with them for the reason that you're being with them. Don't be with them to throw it in another race's face. You know, because you know, sometimes you have the black dudes who ain't had nothing and the sisters held them down. As soon as they come up, they dump us and they go with the other race and they kind of look and go, you know, like they give you that look, like that stance. And I'm just saying, if you love, you can't pick what color a person is if you are in love with them. Me personally, you know, I dated outside my race. Nah, I tried it. I'm good. I saw a strong black family with my parents, other family members. So I was like, I just need me a strong black man from the East Coast with his little goatee, his little beard, and you know, little nice fade, and we good. So nah, I had to stay with my brothers. But pick
Appreciate
what
that.
you want. Just pick it for the right reasons.
Perfectly said.
For me, first I would assume then Rico's two previous wives were black. I would assume. But okay, so the problem with me seeing that if this is a black man that is I don't want to say talking bad about black women, but have this stance like all black women are this. That's why I can't be with them. It's because of the black woman I can't be with them. No, it ain't. That's my problem. If they have that narrative and trying to say he couldn't find a good black woman, they all this way. That's why I had to go over here because these women are not that way. That's my issue. And how dare a black man put down black women like that? That's where I would have a problem. Now, even if he didn't have two previous black wives, I just wanted to know. But if she was his first wife and he didn't have that narrative, I'm cool with it. It's the putting down of black women. It's the saying they couldn't find a good black woman. You a lie. Maybe you're not a good black man to get that good black woman. Maybe, and not to put down, maybe you just don't have the personality able to handle what a black woman is going to bring to it. So that's where my issue comes from. And I think I will be 100% transparent here. I will. I do not like to see it. I do not prefer to see it. Especially El Salvador, my very first boyfriend, or he wasn't even my boy. He couldn't even speak English. He was new to our school. He called himself in love with me. He was a beautiful El Salvadoran guy. That's all I knew. Curly black hair. I say that to say this, that and yes, this is just me, you guys. I wouldn't mind that as much if it was a white woman. If it was a white woman, it tastes a little different. Yes, it does for me. Whether he's talking bad about it or not, it does taste a little bit different for me versus an El Salvadorian or Hispanic or even Asian. So that's just me. I have no logical reason for it. I'm not going to try to excuse it away. That is just my thought. And yeah, so as long as he's not putting down black women, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I appreciate how honest you were about that. You was like, there's no logical reason.
It's not
what it is.
I just don't like it.
Well, they said just Kaya's real talk. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, True? What you think about that?
All right, so run the question by me one more time so I can make sure I got there.
I got you. So we're asking, does the color line or nationality, does that change the dynamic within relationships and, sexuality and relationships? Like, does that impact it? And then why is that line such a hard one to cross? Like even Kaya talked about, if I see one person is with a certain color, it affects me. Like, why does that impact us? Why does that make us think differently or feel differently?
Okay, well, honestly, see, this is, for me, I'm like, be with who is suitable for you. The race thing don't matter to me. That's not a factor for me. You know what I'm saying? As long as the relationship is, going good, the marriage is going good, the children are happy, y'all love each other. That's all. That's the all and be all for me. A lot of people have a problem with that type of situation because I think a lot of people haven't really ingratiated themselves with other cultures, so they don't understand. I've traveled, ever since I was 6 years old, and I've got to know, different people with different races, nationalities, cultures, their habits, their eating, all different type of things. So I was always well versed with other people. So me dating other females of a different race other than black, I've done it frequently and didn't have no problem with doing it. Of course it's a different, I wouldn't say the only thing is different is the fact of from where my upbringing comes from. The black woman usually comes from the same upbringing as you do, but the problem only comes from is if you're stuck in your ways or if you're stuck in, the way that, some people eat in front of the television and some people you have to eat at the table every day. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on the culture. It all depends on the upbringing. It all depends on are you negatively affected by differences and change. One thing that I found out with, and this I'm going to always tell the truth, but this might rub Kaya the wrong way a little bit. But one thing I found out a little bit different, and see, like I said, I've been out there. I'm a retired dragger. I was out there. I've messed with a lot of women, and not just black women, Asian women, Korean, Filipino, you name it. One thing I noticed about those type of women, they are raised different towards a man, So they are more susceptible to doing things a certain way. As far as being confrontational, they're a little bit more soft spoken. And that's because most of the time they're brought up with their fathers. So when they approach a man, their outlook, they don't look to try to be on the man's level. They actually have it's like it's innate in them to them fall back. And I don't know if you know what I'm speaking about, Rico, or anything like that, but it's like whereas in black women, they'll be like, if y'all having a dispute, they actually come and confront you. They step up to you like they're man, right with you, be very combative, argumentative, versus like it was a girl that I was talking to like what about 3 months ago. She was Puerto Rican, and whenever we had a discussion, she would never be very argumentative or combative. And the thing is, I saw the way she interacted with her dad. She wasn't that way with him. And she said, I was taught to never approach a man that way. So with that type of onus, that type of the number one thing for a man is honor and respect. So that translates, we talking about sexually. That actually, when a woman respects you and gives you that onus and basically, puts you on that, like, okay, I honor and respect a man, it actually translates sexually. And then also they do things, you talk about sexually, it translates from them honoring and respecting a man. They're willing to do a lot of things. You see what I'm saying? So it's just the culture is just different. It's just the outlook on men. A lot of women that are Americanized, and it's not just black women. It's a lot of women that's raised. If they're raised in an environment where you take care of yourself, it's going to cause that bravado. Where we're on the same level. You feel what I'm saying? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I thought you were just saying as a phrase, but yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Okay. So when it's just a different outlook of how black women and black men look at each other and how we view each other, and how I say how we look at each other as far as what the Bible say, man, God, Jesus, man, woman. A lot of them are brought up in that type of foundation and structure where they are underneath of a man, versus a lot of women that say, no, I'm not underneath of you. We're on the same level. And I'm going to meet you there too. That type of stuff translate in the bedroom, it translate relationships, it translate in businesses, translate everywhere. It's all about how we approach each other, how we interact with each other, communication wise as well. It's just a difference. It's just a difference. It's from what I've noticed. It's not that the black women are bad,
right?
Because my wife was black. Now my children's moms, as well as myself, like I'm not 100% black, and my children's moms, they wasn't 100% black, but we're still black. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's not the race thing. It's all about the upbringing. You see what I'm saying? If I've noticed black women that were raised with dads, they act just like the Korean girl, the Puerto Rican girl. So it's not about the race. It's about the upbringing. But it's just with them, they're more family centric. You feel what I'm saying? You notice like the Mexicans, the Chinese, most of them, they in the same hut. It could be 10 of them, and they all in the same family, and they're sticking it out. You feel what I'm saying? It's just different. It's just different.
Gotcha. I hear you. I definitely understand what you're talking about. And just to be clear, I know there's this. I know what people are talking about when they talk about, and I know that's not. I'm not talking about you, Truth, But we've had this talking point about Black women being combative, and we talk about it a lot online. But I know when during dating and in relationships, I never dealt with the combative Black woman. I know they exist because I'm related to a lot of them, and I've seen how they operated in their relationships. I've seen my sister beat a man with a crutch. I know Black women, there are some that are combative, but when dating, I've never met a single one who was like the narrative. It's weird how we all have such different experiences because everybody talked about this stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about? The only combative women I know are in my family, and I know y'all ain't all met them, but like we all just have different experiences. And I think a lot of times we generalize when we're having these online conversations. I don't think Black women are truly any different than any other group of women. Yes, we do have some cultural differences, but I know they all of these social ills, like you talked about, Americanized. Anybody who's been American, Rico speaks about that all the time. Once someone is Americanized, like Western societies, there's a different mentality that they take on.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's
it
why I made
really
sure
doesn't, like
I
you
added
said.
that at the end.
Yeah, that's what you said.
Basically,
It's not
so
about
to
color.
keep
It's
it,
more
it's
about
not about
culture.
the color or the race. It's more
The
so the
culture.
upbringing and what they take on, what is stimulating them.
Yeah.
That's why I said I've met like, and it's the thing we want every race wants to marry their own race. You see what I'm saying? Black women want to marry black men. Black men want to marry black women. The thing is it's just if it's suitable, and then also, do we want the same thing?
Facts.
And that's the that's pretty much yeah.
And the last thing I'll
I,
say, and this is because I grew up as a passive person. All right. One thing I'll say now, I won't say combative, but Black women were challenging. But I realized that the challenge was totally different when I learned how to speak assertively. And I don't mean aggressively. I mean just actually say what I actually want, speak honestly. If I spoke honestly and whatever it was I wanted, if I wasn't trying to always like, well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? Well, what do you want? Things went a lot smoother because it was clarity. I found that women value clarity and knowing where things are. So, I mean, I know that impacts a lot of males in America. A lot of us are a little, what do you want to say, passive to passive aggressive, and women don't respond well to that. So, some of that is self development. While we have some of the problems that we have in relationships, it's not always the women. Their communication style does not operate well with ambiguity. If you can't put clear lines and structure, because that's typically what they say the male role is, we provide structure and leadership. If you're lacking in that area, man, you're going to have a problem with the women. Doesn't matter what color. I mean, there's a part that you play. It's not always the women. Even if you're getting problems from the women, some of those problems stem from you. Just wanted to let you all know
Yeah,
that real
well,
quick.
I
yeah.
did.
That's what I
I,
try to tell guys all the time. Like, see, it's just the thing is, it's just different. It's just when hold on, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
I
Think,
wanted to say, I think also too, is that sometimes when you look at those situations, um, a lot of times Black men, when they date other women who of a races who are kind of less aggressive or more compliant, it's also difference in how you treat them. So sometimes Black men treat those women differently than they would their own race. And they have, to me, sometimes more respect for those women. And so then it becomes, you know, I mean, yeah, you came from a Black mother, but then you treat your Black women like trash, but then you go to this other race and you praise them. You serve them. You do what you need to do to provide for them, but you weren't doing that with me. So that's
facts.
my issue too with it. If you want to be one way with any race. Just be one way with whoever you're with.
Absolutely true. I know me and Rico actually wanted to talk about that specifically because I can't remember the exact context, but it came up. And we were like, why do the people that, I think they call themselves swirlers, but a lot of people that do cross racial lines or nationalities, they do a lot of times have a level of deference to these other cultures, and they romanticize these other cultures. But the people that you know back home, like that old conversation with Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin, you know, when you're the people close to you, you're kicking them. You know, you come home from work and you're taking all your troubles out on the people closest to you. So that's our community, our blackness, our brownness, people of color, whatever you want to say. People close to you, you typically punch at those. And then when you go somewhere else, you romanticize the suburbs. You romanticize the different communities. I want to go over here. Oh, look how wonderful it is. But they have problems too. And it's weird how we do that. We do see, I don't know if it's novelty or whatever it is. We always see these other cultures. We defer. We think they're better. So we'll like that Queen said, we'll have that attitude of deference a little bit when we go there and come back home and treat each other like crap. So that is something me and Rico wanted to talk about. Did anybody have anything else they wanted to say on any of the topics? Oh, it did Truth. Did you get your train of thought back? Did it jump the track completely?
Oh, no, yeah, no, I was going to agree with what Queen said as well. Well, not agree, but I have seen that. Usually, that comes from a lot of people. Like I said, if you've never been around something, it's always like the something new factor. Like if it's new, then you tend to try to gravitate to that. People that you know have ingratiated themselves with other cultures, they don't look at like I don't look at a Puerto Rican girl as oh she's the next best thing versus a black girl or something like that. It's all about for me, and this is with any relationship, all about how you treat people. You feel what I'm saying? I don't care what you are. It's not about race. It's about how you treat me, and are we going to be able to walk together? And what I mean walk together, which means are we going to be able to accomplish what we need to accomplish with whatever relationship that we have, business or personal. So it's not about the race. It's not about the race thing. I was bringing up the race thing is because you asked about the sexual thing, and it's all about preference and and also upbringing. But again, that goes back to whether or not you're Americanized or not. You feel what I'm saying? If you have been stimulated and groomed and cultivated in this madness that we have in this country, then you tend to think that that's how a household or that's how a man should be treated or how a woman should be treated. And then we bring those things into our actual relationships and it causes a cancer. And that's on men too. Men do the same thing. It's not just about the women. We take on the stimuli of being Americanized too, and then bring that garbage to our women at home. You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's not is again it's not a race thing. It's not even a sex thing. It's a gender thing. It's really about how we treat each other. You feel what I'm saying? And what is good and what is profitable for you, Rico, Queen, Kaya, or Yella, it may not be profitable for me. You feel what I'm saying? What works out for you, I don't put my expectations and what I like and desire on another person. What I like may not be what you like, and that's okay. And that's just what it is. And we cannot dictate, our thoughts, emotions, and feelings, or and how we see the world on other people. We just need to be more understanding. I think that's what it is.
Perfect. And real quick, let me shout out the people I've been overlooking in the chat, and I apologize. What now, 23G? We saw you come in earlier, and I apologize for not speaking in. I got caught up in the conversation. Then we had conversations with Tommy B. Convo and Chill, excuse me. Convo and Chill with Tommy B. Thank you for pulling up. We got OG Patrice. Oh my gosh. If you did not catch Chef Shapino's show last night with Frank Goodwin, Emmy Award-winning Frank Goodwin, he played a clip of OG Patrice on stage singing. It was beautiful. So lovely voice, OG Patrice, and the boots. You were killing the game with the boots. and Uncut with Darrell Long. So appreciate you, young sir. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right, real quick, we're going to be wrapping up in the next 20 minutes. I did want to follow up question. Rico, I don't think I got. We'll get you, and then I have a question for the panel to wrap up.
Okay.
Yeah, this was about you, so yeah, you the one.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of layers to everything that was discussed, and I do want to try to have the conversation. And obviously, I believe in having the conversations with transparency. So yes, I've been married 3 times. The first 2 times I was married to an African American woman. All my children, I have 5 African American sons. My mother and father are African American. Their mother and father is African American. The women that I married the first 2 times, their mother and father was African American. So there's no mixture. All my children, not all. Well, yes, all my children are fully African American. My 3rd wife is Salvadorian. I've been known in these YouTube streets as simp, white knight, beta, because all I do is I'm a feminist. I'm all these things because I refuse to sit around daily and listen to men bash Black women. And the reason why I got called into question was because my current wife's not African American. I take exception to that because guess who never got to change their color? My mother, my sister, my daughter, or my 4 granddaughters, who are all African American, and most importantly, my Black ass. I can go get my birth certificate and it will say Negro child. And I don't get to change that. I did not assign my color. It was assigned to me. So until the day I close my eyes, I will always stand and rock for Black women. See, here's the thing that people don't understand. Yes, I am madly in love with my wife, and she's Salvadorian, and I rock for her community. But me marrying into a community does not mean I married out of my own. People get the 2 things conflated and twisted. So there are so many things that I think, just being challenged by that kind of it kind of triggered me a little bit because I'm challenged by a panel of people I'll just say a half a dozen people, and I'm being questioned about my commitment to Black women when I have had 2 Black wives and no one else on the panel had none. So I'm like, I lived my commitment. I didn't sleep with them. I married them. I gave them my last name. I bore children with them. I lived my fucking commitment. So no one can ever question me on that. My sister, my dearly departed mother died at the end of early last year. My sister's still alive. My daughter's still alive. My granddaughters are still alive. You are not going to question me on my fucking people. I don't care. Because I know when they go after Queen and they go after Kyla, they're not going after you because you're women. They're going after you because you're Black. Period. Because they're not going after white women. They're not going after Asian women. They're going after Black women. And that's not lost on me. So you can miss me with the gaslighting and all the bullshit that you try to use to come up with all the excuses. You're not going to divide me from my people, full stop. I can be invested in another community. It doesn't mean I leave mine. See, because I'm invested in my wife's community and she's invested in mine. We don't separate the 2. We don't. That's just rank bullshit. So, and we get into the dynamic, and I told I think me and R'Shaun talked about it earlier, and I said, and I empathize more with Black women than I do Black men, right? Because I do know, unfortunately, and I've had the conversation earlier, I'll get frustrated at Black men where I'm like, I get how y'all feel about Black women, right? Because I get it. Like, I could be mad at Kaya. I could be mad at Queen and be like, yeah, you know, she yelled and she screamed at me. She's arguing.
No,
she
you
this,
can't.
she that. I'm just
No,
using you
you
as an
can't.
example, sweetheart.
I'm just messing with you.
I'm sorry, right? I could use you as an example, and I'd be like, yes. But what I don't lose track of, no matter how angry I get at y'all, I know as a black man, the only ally I got is you two. And people who look like you. Because I know I could get locked up today or tomorrow. When I'm looking out that window, guess who's going to be leading the chant to say free Rico? It's going to be black women. It ain't even going to be black men. It's going to be black women out with them free Rico t-shirts. And I'm going to see one Latina, and that's going to be my wife. Because ain't no fucking body else rocking with me. That's my reality. So I'm constantly telling people, I'm constantly trying to tell black men, we got one ally in this world that stands for us, and that's the only person y'all want to kick in the ass, and that's black women. And I'm sick and fucking tired of it. We have our problems. We can address those. We can talk about them. We can find solutions, but we have got to stop beating each other down when all we got is each other. Yeah. Could my third wife have been black? Absolutely. It just didn't happen that way. But I ain't gave up on y'all because y'all ain't never gave up on me. Knock it the fuck off. My personal relationship was just the fact that at that time, this woman came into my life. I fell in love with her. She fell in love with me. And I have no regrets about that. None. But under no circumstance did I stop loving black women and caring about my people because I sat there and fell in love with someone of a different race. And that doesn't change. So when people try to sit there and put these wedges and put all this nonsensical stuff in, I reject it. I don't like it. I'm offended by it. And all I'm saying is that, and I sympathize with black women because of the fact that I know, I say to myself, I understand why they feel the way they feel when they see it. Because there's too few of us. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was the one, I love being married. People look at me like that's crazy. I first got married, I was 19 or 20. That one failed, I did it again. That one failed, I did it again. My life ain't never been good when I was on my own. But because so few of us want to get married, so when you see one of us outside the community, I feel it because it's a numbers game. I get it. I get why y'all feel that way when you see me or anybody else. And as Kaya said, I'm like, well, at least it's not a white woman because I know that hurts more. I know it. I'm not mad about it, but I'm like, look, I love who I love. I'm too damn old to do it again. I'm not doing it again. I'm not giving this wife up. I wouldn't anyway. But I know and I feel your pain. I feel and sympathize with how you ladies feel, and you have every right to feel that way. But I'm sitting there saying is, until the day I close my eyes, with or without my wife, I'm going to fight for y'all ass. Because when I hear these things, I see my daughter. So that's what guys don't understand. I'm like, you talking about my fucking child or my grandchild. And I take offense. Oh, your wife, I don't give a damn what my wife is. You're talking about my daughter, my mother, my sister, and my granddaughter. And you ain't going to do it to me because me and their fucking brothers will rain hell on your fucking heads. It's unacceptable. And even if they're not talking about mine, they're talking about somebody else's. It's wrong. It's wrong. So again, we have our problems. We know what our problems are in the community. I can't fix them all. But my commitment won't be called into question by no motherfucking body. And I'm done.
I love it, Rico. Tell him. But now we have stepping to the stage. We have OG Patrice. How you doing tonight, young lady?
I'm wonderful. How y'all doing?
Doing good.
Good evening, Sister Patrice.
Good. It's good to see everybody on the panel. Salute to the chat and salute to the panel. Y'all having a juicy conversation over here.
Yeah, we've been going. We went a few places with it, but it's all been good in my opinion.
That's good. That's good. I was just tuning in the last 20 minutes to kind of hear this latter part of the conversation. And I just wanted to definitely say, Brother Rico, I totally get it. I totally agree with you and what you're saying. I never question anyone that is in an interracial relationship or whatever. I never question their blackness when I see them rocking, in the black neighborhood, still being committed to the black community, because you have black sisters, a black mother, black brothers, black children. Like that's the same with me, because in my travels, I have dated interracially because of the limitations of black men that weren't around me when I was touring, like especially overseas. And you going in certain places like China, Asia, Japan, Cuba, and all of that it's very limited. And especially back then when I was touring. So black men were just very limited until I got married, came back to the States and got married, and I married my black husband. But I dated outside my race. But it never, it was happened to be who I was attracted to and who was attracted to me. And I never left my blackness. Like you don't have a black card that you put it in the drawer and tuck it away somewhere just because you're dating somebody that's not black. So, and like I heard Truth on the panel saying, it is definitely a difference when it comes to upbringing, traditions, and things of that nature, because most of the guys that I dated that were not black, were non-black, had to come from two-parent home too. And it was just differences culturally, differences, traditions, and things of that nature, upbringing. So yeah, but you learn to adapt, and you learn someone else's culture. They learn your culture, and even when I came home after I was divorced and dated outside of my race, I was in an interracial relationship all the time. With a Caucasian guy all the time, while I was fighting for the same things I'm fighting for now. Reparations. I was on the front lines when George Floyd got deleted in Nevada. When I worked the Obama campaign, like all during those times, if I was in a relationship with someone else, and it was never an issue. It was never an issue. But because when you date outside your race, at some point, especially if you date someone that's of Caucasian descendant, you have to have the conversation. And then my grandchildren, the youngest ones, they're interracial, because my son is now in an interracial relationship with his fiance, their mother, but he married a black woman, which is the mother of my first grandchildren. And I married a black man, which was my husband. So, and all the time, I'm on the front lines because I got my brother in mind when I'm on the front line fighting. I got my son in mind when I'm on the front lines. I got my nephews that are all black. So it does not mean that you're not black because you have happened to date someone outside your race. And why should you give your black card up, especially when you're still in your black community? Now, is there people that do that? Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, it's people that do that. They totally will do that, and they will forget all about who they is, move to the suburbs, and they somebody else, and you be like, well, damn, it's definitely people like that. But I never have left my community, and I've always rocked with my black men first and foremost, and will continue to do so, because how could I face my son? How could I face my brothers if I not do that? My black father, the black my black ex-husband, my son's father, they were all black men. You know what I mean? So and I don't like that either, when they try to pull that, oh, you ain't black no more, oh, you left us, you left our community. Get the fuck out of here with that. Miss me with the bullshit, because I'm out there fighting for you when you ain't out there fighting for you. So don't come try to play that one with me. That's the last thing you can do for me when it's that type of situation. And I have been disrespected by black men more than any other race. So please do not come with me with that one. You know what I'm saying? But I have come to defense of black men as well. because I knew that there are good Black men out here. I look at them every day when I look at my son, my brothers, my ex-husband, my son's father. Like all the Black men I've ever been involved with have been good Black men. So I know that they are out here. So I'm not going to let another Black man try to tell me what my Blackness should be according to them. Never that move.
That's right.
Yeah, tell them
Or a
okay.
sister. Or a sister. A sister can't come at me either. Can't come at me either crazy. Because see, I know the work that I do. I got the receipts. The proof is in the pudding. I fight for my people in general. I don't care who I'm in a relationship with. I'm fighting for reparations right now for our people.
Thank you, Sister Patrice, because that's the part I was getting ready to say.
So how much goddamn Black do you need me to be when I'm standing out on the front line, damn near getting ready to go to jail, risking my life, about to get beat by the police because I'm out there fighting for Black men. So miss me with the bullshit.
That's what I was talking about earlier. That's what I was talking about earlier, trying to meet other people's expectations. That's one thing I never been as a people pleaser and try to meet other people's expectations, because it's going to change. It's going to change, and they're always going to want you to do what they want you to do.
Yes. Now I'm dating now. I would love to meet me a handsome, tall, chocolate man, caramel color, vanilla flavor. I don't care. I ain't even a color. It's like I like men, period. Would I like a brother in my life? You goddamn right. First and foremost, goddamn it, all day, every day. But guess what? If that does not happen to happen, then it's not in the cards to happen.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
But here's the thing is, why are they judging your commitment onto the community based on who you're with? That's the least of your concerns, because like you said, you're doing the work. You're doing more, so the people are like, oh, I got a Black husband, but you ain't doing shit for the Black community. So what?
and most of the people that's talking ain't doing shit for the Black community. That's talking to you about your Blackness.
That's exactly what
most of them ain't doing jack shit.
But they're trying to discount your commitment. They're trying to discount you. That's all they're doing is running through saying, you're not Black enough, you're not Black enough, you're not. Like,
and when the angry Black man, and when a Black man is upset or angry with me and he come at me, cursing me out, disrespecting me, then I'm looking at you like you're upset because you really mad at somebody else that you can't take that anger out on, and we both know who that is.
And you know, and look, here's the.
We know who you really angry with, that you can't take the angry out. So you come home or you come on these panels and you take it out on the Black woman.
But see, OG Patrice, this was the perfect thing, and I had said it the other night, and I swear they dismissed it, and I was kind of so angry about it because I was like, you know, and true, you know, I love you, brother. I mean, I'm not even talking to you. I'm just talking to just Black men in general. I want Black men wherever that can hear my voice, because I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Is that again? I have, and here's the thing. I even tell the people in the red pill community, I got the same issue with Black women that y'all got. What I don't agree with is y'all fucked up solution, because y'all solution is just garbage. Y'all solution is just to bash, shame, and judge them. Not work with them, not try to solve it, not to do any of that. I said, because here's the problem. I just snapped my finger, and I literally made every Black woman on the planet drop to their fucking knees and to kiss your fucking feet. Kaya, Patrice, and every other Black woman all over the world submitted to you. And you know what I tell every last one of those Black men? When you wake your ass up tomorrow and walk out that door, guess whose foot's still going to be in your motherfucking neck? White supremacy. And y'all don't do a fucking thing about that. You do nothing about that. You want to fight feminism and you want to fight the Black woman, your only fucking ally on this earth. The only people who pick you first. I love my Salvadorian wife. But other than her, ain't no motherfucking body else from El Salvador want my Black ass. And I know that. I know that. I'm not confused to say, oh, because she loved me. No. Just that one did. The rest of them, when I go there every year. They ain't checking for me other than what I can get their ass. They not checking for me. I'm not confused.
Mm-hmm.
Because guess who was checking for me and always checking? His sister. And I'm like, I don't have no problem with that. That's fine.
Right.
Live in your reality. And I'm not saying that you don't sit there and date other people. I don't say that. Love who you love, date who you date, but you don't have a path to shit on sisters. I'm like, if you like Chinese or Asian women, great. How is shitting on a black woman helping you? It's not. People in China don't care that you put black women down. They don't care. So what are you wasting your time for? If that's what you want to do, go do you. That's my problem. Is that and the incessant way that they want to, again, all the black women submitted to you because y'all cry about the submission bullshit. Okay, they submitted to you. But tomorrow morning when you get up and you walk out that door, there are two things that you still must deal with. You must still deal with white supremacy, because that man gonna still put his fucking foot on your neck. And all over the globe, in the US, South America, Asia, and even Africa, anti-blackness. Because everybody in the fucking world want to be anything but black, to include black people. When you go to Africa, they're fucking bleaching themselves. Let's knock it off and act like that psychosis and that pathology does not exist. And anti-blackness supports white supremacy supports anti-black. And we need to start looking at that and trying to deconstruct that within ourselves and with others and say, look, there's nothing wrong with being a certain melanated color. And I'm not accepting that concept. I'm sick and tired of that. I can love my wife, but no, we're not going to be anti-black about fucking nothing. About nothing. And it starts with the 6 people on this panel and everybody else. Open your fucking eyes and knock it off. And stop saying anything else. Break it.
Yeah,
I'm just tired. I'm tired of them having. I'm sorry. I'm just tired of them having so much smoke for black women in these YouTube streets. I'm so tired of them having so much smoke for each other with the disrespect on these panels in these YouTube streets. But they ain't got no goddamn smoke for George Zimmerman. See, why is he still walking? See, you got all the smoke for everybody else that look like you, except for who you really should have the smoke for. So when you come in and you disrespecting black women on these panels and you disrespecting each other, black men on these panels, that's because you're frustrated. You're really mad at the person that you really want to take the frustrations out, that you can't take the frustrations out on because you don't have no power over them.
And why are we the world's victim? Why are we the world's target? Why are we the ones that everybody, and that's the thing that shouldn't get lost. I could sit here and I could talk shit about black women all day and black people all day. I ain't gonna get no smoke from YouTube. Let me talk about the LGBT community. Let me talk about the Jewish community. See, there's certain communities I can talk about, and all of a sudden, I'll start getting all kinds of warning, and they'll get rid of my ass. And I don't know why we don't see that. And I'm not saying that those communities should be talked about. They shouldn't be. But I'm like, why are we participating in the degradation of our own community when we already know others do it? Let's stop tearing each other down. Can we start there?
I was talking to R'Shaun the other
panels. They do it on panels like nobody biz. I look and see how black men low key, disrespect each other, even as men. I saw last night. I was on somebody's panel. I wasn't on the panel, but I was listening. See, a lot of time when you lay back in the cut and you listen to some stuff, you see toxic stuff on these panels, and to disrespect and the hate that we have for each other as a people. The disrespect and the vitriol that we spit at each other. I'm telling you, that ain't nothing but a form of self-hate. That's all it is.
I was talking to R'Shaun the other day and explaining that the manosphere is just the other side of the spectrum, the extreme to feminism. That's all it is. Both of those need to be abolished. You see what I'm saying? And like you said, I try. That's what my my YouTube thing is all about. Actually dealing with solutions. We done talked about this enough. actually deal with solutions. People don't want solutions. I say, what are the tangible things that we can actually implement in our daily lives, application right now to start change? And I tell people, first and foremost, we gotta stop pointing the fingers. At the same time, we also, each and every one of us, have to do what's called self-accountability instead of trying to cause other people to be accountable. We have to deal with ourselves. Everyone need to deal with themselves first before we start pointing the finger at anything and become the best individuals. Men need to become authentic men, and then we need to address other men and set a standard, a level of decorum, and these things need to be set as the bar. You feel what I'm saying? And that would eliminate a lot of problems. Respect is not given, which it should be synonymous. Just common decency. You feel what I'm saying?
It's amazing to me that I realize how bad it is with Black men. And when I listen to what I listened to last night in low-key disrespect of another Black man from a Black man for no reason, really, apparently, like literally for something that, like, why are you disrespecting and talking, and then the whole panel laughing like it's a joke. Like it just make me realize how sick we are.
Well, what show you was on? Because see, the thing is, because see, I'm gonna be honest. People get on this thing and because they know they hide behind a keyboard, they like to say things that they would not say in front of you. Like it just would not happen. Realistically, and I tell people it has nothing to do with me being the baddest person. I just have a level of respect for myself as a man, and the people in the city that know me, we carry each other and carry ourselves with a level of respect that they won't even cross me because we're men. It has nothing to do with the level. It's not fear, it's respect. And I carry myself in a way where I give respect. So when you disrespect me, and I know you would not be disrespecting, you wouldn't even say those type of things, even remotely in my vicinity at all, because it would be a problem. That bothers me. And so you've probably, I've addressed a couple of people because they need to understand and be put in place. Like, bro, either carry yourself like a man or stop being fraudulent and hide behind and saying all types of stuff that you would not be saying in front of people if we're in the same spot. We have to have respect for each other. You have to understand who you're talking to. If you're going to disagree. But disrespect is not going to be tolerated. It's not going to be tolerated. You don't agree with what I said. You don't like that. Okay, cool. But then to start saying some type of names and everything like that. No, I don't. I'm not disrespecting in my household. I'm not disrespecting on the streets. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you come to Baltimore, it's not hard to ask anybody about Rocky up the village. I'm known in my city.
You in BMO?
Yes, sir.
I'll come see you. Right, you 30 minutes away from me.
Where you live at?
My wife work in Baltimore. I'm in Rockville.
Oh, you in Rock? Oh,
yeah, my wife work in Baltimore. She's a union guy. She's a union girl.
Okay.
She off Eastern Avenue.
Oh, okay. So you know about Emerson Village.
I ain't fucking with y'all, but I'm gonna come see you. I didn't know that's where you were, my brother. We're gonna do the harbor.
Okay.
You can come down there with white folk, okay? Where I feel safe.
We definitely gonna sit up. But that's what I'm saying, Miss.
I didn't know that, sir.
I give everybody that knows me. If they had conversation with me, they will say I have never disrespected them unless something has came that route. Unless it has came down the pipeline that they had disrespected me. I know
y'all don't play.
Because that's how I don't believe in just coming off disrespectful. I don't talk. If I'm not going to talk to nobody out on the street like that, I'm not going to talk to you like that. But you're going to give me the same. You're going to give me the same respect I'm giving you. We're going to have a conversation. You disagree? Cool. Disagree. We don't know each other. But just don't come on here saying some off the wall stuff out the way because you and your feelings because you don't like what I say. We don't know each other.
Exactly.
I'm just sharing my opinion and what I believe in. That's it. That shouldn't bother you that much that you have to use a disrespectful term. That's my problem with people on
especially
here.
when, and it's been unnecessary. Like it's unnecessary. It's not even. It's not like it's a big deal. Like I'm talking about mediocre bull crap. Because you don't like the fact that I have an opinion, or you don't like the fact the way I may come across in my opinion in what I say, or
Right.
whatever. You know what I mean? Or just whatever. But I wasn't even on the panel. I was listening in the back, and I was like, wow. Just disrespect. Just disrespect. They disrespect the female, and they disrespect a brother. And it's people on the panel that look like them for no reason, really. Because somebody won't bend to what you think they should bend to. You know what I mean?
That's why,
Like,
because that's why I said I've gotten into with a couple of people. That's why I said I don't know if it what show it was on, but I got, because I do not play about that. Like I said, me and R'Shaun had words, but that was a misunderstanding. After that, like that's my brother right there. I call him on the phone. We have conversation and everything. You know, I love that guy. You see what I'm saying? And he knows that I treat him with respect. I hold him. I show respect. I hold him as an older person above me. I actually listen to him and everything like that. And anybody that has conversations with me and that know me and talk to me, they know I'm very respectful. I'm very respectful.
You should be able to work it out. If it's a misunderstanding that you can work it out. But if it's to the fact where literally where you just trying to, and it was almost like he was trying to show out in front of the other people. And I'm so tired of black people feel like they got to up another black person to make them look good. I don't like that. Like, I don't like that behavior. I was gonna go up on the panel, but I was like, "No, you stay down, stay back down."
Matter of fact,
I'm not gonna say the show, but it was just
You're not
like
gonna say the show.
No, I'm not gonna say the panel. The panel I was listening to, it was just mad disrespect.
Okay,
you know,
I think I know what you're talking about now. I think
even I was disrespectful. You know what I'm saying about black men, and you know, but again, you taking it out on me because you can't really take it out on who you really want to, because you don't have no power over that person. You know you can't do it because you be put in a position where you'll never do that one. You will never do that one. But it's easy to do it on your own people.
Right. Are you married, Miss Patrice?
No, I'm not.
You're not married? Okay.
No, not anymore. I was married for over 10 years though.
Oh, you was married? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Sorry.
Everybody chasing her.
It's all good. It's all good.
Everybody chasing her.
Where they at? Go shit.
Stop playing hard to get.
It's hard out here for a sister.
I would come, but it's too damn cold in Chicago.
I ain't in Chicago. I ain't in Chicago. I'm in Arizona.
Oh shit! Okay, that's good for my skin.
It's plenty warm out here. Rico, you married, but look, you and I are the same age. You and I are the same age, so you already know you know how it is out here.
That's why I got to worry about my sciatic and all that other stuff.
That's right. See, I have to be in warm climate too. I do not want to live in cold climate anymore. So it's either gonna be here or back to Nevada for me. I will never live in Illinois again. My bones can't take it.
What's that? I fight for your reparations where it's warm.
So since we was talking about,
but that's why I love you, Patrice, because see, that's the thing that bothers me. Is like I said, they can question a lot of things, but I'm like, I tell people like, hell, I fight for my people, but hell, I ain't fighting for reparations because that's a real uphill fight, and to see you in that fight. And people, of course, and I'm like, yeah, we all think it ain't going to happen, but it's certainly not going to happen if ain't nobody asking for it. And it's people like OG Patrice
or fighting for it, right? Right. And but Rico, I want to thank you too, because when they were coming at me just for even bringing it up, and this is a sad part that I talk about, that I fight my own people more than I fight the other races for reparations that I'm trying to get for all of us black people. That's ADOS, and I get the most pushback from them or either non-ADOS people. But when you came up there and kind of like came to you. You kind of came to a sister rescue like a couple of times, and I want to tell you I appreciate it because I noticed the black men don't speak up for black women a lot on these panels when they get disrespected. I do notice that, but I want to tell you, you did it to me twice. You've done it to me and a brother named Matt Ricks. When somebody was disrespecting me, he came from all the way in the chat, and he never comes up. And that man came up and he checked the young man and was like, "You ain't got to talk to her like that. You ain't got to be disrespectful." And the person that happened it would we cool right today. You get an apology from somebody, you could forgive somebody, but when you do it wrong and your intentions and your heart ain't right and the apology is weak as fuck, and and I know you lied on me and disrespected me, it's like nah, until you come to me correct. Come to me correct.
In fact, they fighting for us, and they don't have to win the fight, but goddamn, they fighting for me.
Exactly.
Don't take it.
Exactly.
What's wrong with you?
I mean, they come up in here. That's victim of liquor. You begging. You waiting on a check like I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting on a check like I'm like ain't got shit else with my life.
I have two questions about that.
I would like to say something, and as soon as we get it, they're gonna be the first ones in line.
Exactly.
Where my cut at?
Exactly.
You ain't getting no cut.
Yeah.
Get in the back of the line.
Right. They be cutting everybody to get their check. Thank you. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Queen.
Hey, Rico, hold on. R'Shaun, was you trying to get to something else or?
Nah. We're gonna wrap up here like about 13 minutes. So I mean, y'all can just finish up this, and then we'll do our everybody get their last points in.
Okay. So Rico, you was talking about again, which I agree with. I say it all the time. We need to be more solution based. So give me some applicable solutions that can be applied right now that can bridge the gap between this black women and black men.
I mean, let me be honest with you, True. Okay, I will be flat out 1,000% honest. I don't have any solution, but let me tell you this. No, because you're right, because that's what I always get propositioned with, because I think our problems are very complex, and I don't think there's simple solutions to them. And I don't have any. So I tell everybody, I don't have any. I tell people, don't listen to me for solutions. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to tamp down on the damage that we're doing. So I'm not trying to say that what you're doing is. I'm just trying to say, if I see you saying something that's damaging, I'm not gonna say, Truth, your solution is wrong. I'm gonna say, look, I want to fix the harm that I'm concerned with,
right?
Not the solution, because I don't have the answer. It's like, because that's the first thing they're gonna ask me. Well, what's your solution? I'm like, well, shit, I don't have any because I think it's complex. But I think if I hear you saying something that I think is more harmful, that's what I'm trying to fight back against, because I'm being honest with you, I don't. And I struggle with it. And before I offer a solution, I'm really trying to think it through. That's it. So I apologize if I didn't. And people oftentimes tell me, well, shut the fuck up. I'm like, yeah, but I can't just sit by and let y'all say black women bad, because that's not a solution either.
Yeah, and that's why I tell people all the time, because I've been called beta simp, and then I've been called the most masculine, and then I've been called toxic masculinity. I'll tell you, I was like, man, y'all don't know what to call it, because you can't put me in a box, because I'm not one side or the other. I'm for what is right. I said, first and foremost, I don't respect a relationship unless it's marriage. If you're married, you're married. Now that's a relationship. If you just got your little thing that you playing with and having sex with or whatever, you're still single. To me, that don't count. I don't split hairs. We're grown. You feel what I'm saying? That's number one where I differ from these people. Number two, I told you directly and indirectly, I'm not looking forward to hurting anyone. So I'm not wasting no one's time. If I'm going to involve myself with you, it's going to be for a purpose. We're going to get to know each other. I'm not coming in to try to have fun and everything like that. That's going to come. We're going to have fun. But right now, I need to know, can we actually walk together? Can we actually build something? Those conversations need to be had. Like once we get to know each other, once we go out on that date, we need to be having legitimate conversations instead of worrying about, oh, are we about to laugh? Are we about to have sex? Or are we about to do this? We need to be talking about, is this going to be a waste of time? Is this going to be 3 to 6 months and then we're done? And all that is added trauma. You see what I'm saying? Added characteristics, added, spirits, because that's basically what be transferred. Like, are those added problems coming inside a relationship, or is this going to be beneficial? So a lot of people is not coming in good faith inside of these relationships anyway. They're coming to see what they can get out of a person instead of what they can give to a person. And that be the problem. We're so selfish. We're so selfish. We're so self-centered that it's bound to fail because we're not looking and coming with love. We're not coming as intentional. We're not looking for longevity. And those are things that I always speak out against. And then, the guys get mad at me. But then I also I've been ingratiated myself with enough women to know there are good women out there, and there are, the ones that are kind of off. The problem is most of the good women are taken, because a good woman is not going to be out there that long. They're not going to be out there that long. Because right now, like me, I'm actively seeking. So when the one that I know that is suitable for where I'm trying to go at in life, and she's that match, it ain't taking me 3 to 5 years to ring her up. It's going to be 6 to 12 months, if that. Once I find that one. And that's what's happening with a lot of these guys. They just want the girls to just basically not care about themselves and do what they want them to do. And that's not right. And I'm never going to agree with that, because yes, I have a mother. I have a daughter that I'm raising. And I'll be daggone if I let any of these fools be with her. I tell guys all the time, I said, the stuff that Kevin Samuels is talking about, the stuff that these manospheres talking about, AMS is talking about, bro, you do that to my daughter, I'm trying to tell you, it's just not going to be good. So I'm not going to be hypocritical. You feel what I'm saying?
Truth, I think the biggest thing is, until we realize that as a people, a lot of us are hurt, are angry, bitter, jaded, and need some therapy. Until we do some self-inventory, no matter what solutions you bring their way, they're not going to follow through with them, because they're not ready to. They're not in that place and ready to accept it. And as a people, that's why you see the same conversations happening over and over again. And at the end of the conversation, nobody got solutions.
No, but what you just said is a solution, because that's where I was about to go at.
Right. That's why I was saying the therapy. We need that first. We got to start with self. We got to look in the mirror and deal with our issues and say, wow, maybe I do need some therapy behind this relationship for what I went through, or whatever the situation is, or whatever trauma or whatever it is that you went through. Maybe listen, all my relationships ain't worked out. And guess what? I'm the common denominator in that shit.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So maybe I need to go talk to somebody and work it out. Maybe it's something from my childhood. Maybe it's something from whatever. But that's what we need as a people. Like, we need the therapy to work on ourselves to get healthy before we try to be in any relationship. Because if you're the common denominator and you're toxic, I don't care. You can have 100 relationships you can go through, and all of them gonna be toxic because you're the toxic person.
Mm-hmm. So, and
without having the solutions, the conversation gonna keep going around and around and around. I had to literally unsubscribe to channels that is toxic. I can't do it. Listen, the gender wars, I'm no longer subscribing to it. I'm not gonna be a part of it. I'm not going to share panels with people that are disrespectful. I'm not going to be on channels that allow the disrespect, because there's some channels that are allowing the disrespect. So if I'm subscribed to your channel as a subscriber, that's like I'm coming to you and saying, hey, I'm down with you. I'm digging what you're doing over here, yada, yada, yada. And I'm up on a panel. And then you allow like a man to disrespect me and it don't get checked. That's like you invite me to your house and another guest come to your house and then they disrespect me in your house and you say nothing. I'm not coming back to your house. That's how I feel about it. Because when you have a channel and you have subscribers, they're like your guests. They're tuning in to come see you, what you have to bring to the table, whatever topics you want to carry or whatever. Because like if I had a channel, I'm not gonna let nobody disrespect nobody in that's a subscriber. Like you a subscriber. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna say, hey, you can't do that over here. Right. But see, we don't do that as a people. We allow and perpetuate the bullshit, and we say nothing.
And that's
why I keep going back and forth, the gender wars and the disrespect on people's channel, because they rather see people argue and shit. They rather see people get disrespected.
That's correct. Because it was bringing the likes, it was bringing the subscribers. You know, people like dysfunction and chaos more than they like, you know, information, learning, you know, ingratiating themselves, growing with people. Anything for some reason, I mean, it's just in us. We we gravitate to stuff that's basically horrifying, man, versus things that are nourishing. But that's one thing that I made clear on my show. On my show, like, we're not going to disrespect each other. We're not going to cut each other off. And you daggone sure not going to disrespect nobody on my show. But it's not just you're not going to disrespect nobody. Nobody's not going to disrespect you too. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly. And you supposed to check them people and say, hey, y'all chill out. If y'all can't respect each other over here, you don't disrespect him, you don't disrespect her, you respect each other, and let's have the conversation. If you can't do that, then I'm gonna need you to excuse yourself from my panel. See, we start being responsible and accountable and act like adults. Because would you do that if I came to your house? Would you let somebody disrespect me in your house?
Right. And it's just, and not just on the panel, even in the chat, because that's where
the chat. Exactly.
That's where I had talked about. I had a couple disagreements with people because, like I said, I got into with somebody down into the chat because they was being disrespectful, and the person tried to address me because I was on the panel. I said, "Oh, bro," I said, "there is no respect of persons. When you set a law, the baseline has to be solid across all boards. It has to be synonymous with everybody."
And that is another way to keep down a lot of the beef. You got to immediately check people. Yeah. Like, nah, we ain't doing that over here. You ain't disrespecting no woman in the chat. You ain't disrespecting no man in the chat. You ain't disrespecting no woman on the panel. You ain't disrespecting no man on the panel. And if both of y'all can't do it, if I mute you and you still going at it disrespect, like, you both need to be removed from my panel. How about that? See, but we don't do that as a people. We don't hold people accountable even when it comes to things like that. You know why? Because we get to know people and we kind of like them. So because we like them a little bit, we don't want to check them.
Right, and that's hypocrisy. And I speak out about that all the time.
No, they wrong, and you won't check.
I say, yo, you won't, and I spoke out of beef. I tell people this all the time. I was like, yo, you don't know that person. You don't know that individual. I said, how do you carry yourself? If respect is respect, and it has to be across the board. Respect is not just cursing. It's no name calling. It's no being rude. It's none of that. We're having a conversation. But you're not going to set a baseline for one individual and then not set it for the next. That's another problem. But to get back to what you was talking about, the self-accountability, that's what I told people. The first thing I had to do with myself in order to become a man, I tell people the first 28 years of my life, I wasn't a man. I said once I started to deal with myself and I do what's called mirrored up, I started to constantly and daily evaluate who I am as a man, how I treat people, and the decisions that I make. And I'm my toughest critic.
Right. We on these panels, we go on each other's, subscribe to each other, have these conversations and everything. But we want to talk about, oh yeah, we're a community. We need to come with solutions and get together as a people. But you sit and allow somebody to total disrespect someone on your channel, in the chat, up on the panel. Like what we doing? Like are we really trying to be a community?
So for me, when people say or ask me for the solution, I told people this all the time. Respect has to be first. For men, the number one need of a man is honor, respect. That's our number one need. Honor and respect. I said decorum must be set. That's first and foremost if you want to start to build what is called civilization.
And that's why you have mods too in the chat. Your mods are there to monitor the chat.
Yeah, but even them, they be doing the most. It's
in the beast.
They be doing it too. It's just a whole bunch.
Okay,
but I'm talking about as far as the black community, as far as us getting things together. Deal with self accountability first. Become the best version of yourself. Basically, deal with your weaknesses and your insecurities and your infirmities. Get help, whatever way you want to get help. You feel what I'm saying? For me, I turned to God. I didn't turn to a therapist. I turned to God, and He's the one that helped me. I went to the source because I knew who was going to know me better than my Creator, and that's who I turned to, and that's what helped deliver me from a lot of the trauma and pain from me growing up, the way I was brought up, from my father passing away when I was 7, to my parents breaking up. I was brought up in a marriage, but then they separating, and then there's so much loss and things that I've endured. So I needed deliverance from all those type of things in order to become the man I am today and the man I'm growing into be. A lot of people are not doing the work within themselves.
Yeah.
And then they coming and bringing all that mess and trauma into other people's lives. And we keep damaging each other over and over and over and over again.
Yep, because hurt people hurt people.
Sister Patrice, Mr. Truth, ladies and gentlemen,
yes,
you guys have killed it. And again, no disrespect, no, seriously. I mean, this is a great conversation. This conversation has been needed. We're glad to have it. We are glad to have it. We're excited. The depth that everybody talked about is very important. True. Look at me in the private chat. I left some information. I expect to hear from you.
Hit me off. Oh, okay. Got you.
In the private chat, I left some information. I hope to hear from you. You're going to get sick of me. Queen, everybody. So, we're about to do our closing because obviously the old man I got to get in my crypt. Count Dracula got to get in his crypt before the sun come up. But again, great topic, great conversation. Can't do it without you guys. Thank you. Like I said, I'll tell everybody, this is your space. Me and R'Shaun are just the hosts.
We need each other, and I think we need to realize that more than ever, that when we realize how much we really do need each other, then the stronger we can become as a community. But we need healing first, and it starts with us first.
And I love us having conversations like this rather than all the garbage that all the stuff that's going on. But I'm gonna let Mr. Best in the World come in here and say his piece so we can get ready to wrap this thing up.
Peace and love, family. Thank you, everybody, for being a part of
Peace and love.
Yeah. Hey, LG Patrice, good to see you, sister. You did a phenomenal job yesterday on Chef's Show. Shout out to Queen.
Thanks.
Shout out to Truth is never favored. Good to see you, Truth. I haven't seen you in a while, brother, but I'm glad to see you. Rico and R'Shaun, you already know. And thank you, everybody, for logging into the Rico and R'Shaun experience, y'all. I said Queen. Queen, I said you already.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Thank you for being a part of the Rico R'Shaun experience. You're not gonna mess with my promo, Queen, all right? Like I said, thank you for being a part of Rico R'Shaun experience. Thank you for being a part of the knowledge and relationship experience. We truly appreciate you. Shameless plug before they close. For all you single people, all right? February 14th is coming. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Rico shimmy for y'all, all right? Y'all gonna get your shimmy on the 14th, all right? February 14th for all you single people. Holla at us, come through. You know what I mean? There's gonna be a little bit of love connections. A lot of people are coming through. You know what I mean? Would you be shooting shots or you gonna be making shots? We're gonna be finding out real soon.
Mm.
Let's see what
Or
happens.
you gonna get shot down.
Or you're gonna get
Ooh.
shot down too. That can happen too. Most definitely. Thank you, Queen. But
No
yeah,
problem.
February
I got you.
14th, Valentine's Day. Holla at me. We out.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
All right, LG. Have a good night.
Y'all have a good night. R'Shaun,
Anybody
I'll
got
holler
any
at you on the
closing
back
words?
lines.
True.
Huh?
Any closing words? Queen, any closing words?
No, just love on and with purpose. You know, get out there and love somebody. You know, it don't take much. You know, a phone call. The most precious thing you can give somebody is your time. So
Facts.
just a little effort. That's all.
Thank you, sir. We couldn't do it without you.
Yep,
Thank
yep.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Deal
Queen?
with your baggage and present yourself as your better self. Stop giving people trash and then get mad when they throw you in the garbage can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Deal with your baggage. Own it. Now, and then put it down and be a grown woman, grown man, and walk your steps. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Y'all have a good night. You know I love your show. I'm always here. I got you.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you,
love you back.
Queen.
Glad to have you.
Queen, you hold us. You hold us
I'm
up.
trying. I'm trying. You
We
know I
on
gotta
your
protect.
shoulders,
You know I gotta
Queen.
watch y'all. Y'all be
We
coming
on
with
Yeah.
your
the
shoulders.
smoke.
Thank you.
Y'all
God
don't
Yeah,
play.
bless.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
God bless.
yeah,
We couldn't do it without you. Thank you.
All right.
I
Have a
can't
good
say it
night,
enough.
guys.
All right.
All right, Rico. Let me go ahead and drop this off real quick. Because True did ask, I've been quiet for a minute, so I got a lot to say. I'm about to speak for the next 40 minutes straight. No, I'm
Get
just
it off your
joking.
chest. Get it off your chest.
Sophia Sharif, I want to say a shout out to you. I didn't shout you out in the chat. And Colin Mitchell, I saw you stop through. What I wanted to say was True did ask, what is the solution? What is the solution? It's an internal structure, like of how you move and operate, how you think, move, and operate. And I came up with the acronym while I was waiting because I had that much time. Okay. CHARM, CHARM. Okay. The C stands for clear communication. That's what you have to do first. You have to be able to communicate whatever ideas you have in your mind. The H is for honesty and humility because it doesn't matter how clearly you can communicate. If your communication is a lie, it's going to harm someone. And if it's not humble, you're going to be arrogant and condescending. So neither one is going to be effective. So the H, be honest and be humble. The A is for acceptance and understanding. You have to accept what people say sometimes because you may not always understand. So you have to give them the benefit of the doubt and just accept them on face value, accept that they know their experience and what they communicate to you is the best that they could relay it to you. So even if you don't understand, accept it. And you go on to the R, which is reciprocity. That exchange, the clear communication, the honesty and humility, and the acceptance and understanding has to be reciprocated. It can't be one way because if both people are operating in the same space, then you'll have you'll have a clean relationship. And then the aim is to move forward. Don't stay in whatever topic that is. If you've truly accepted it and you're truly being reciprocal, you both accepted it, then you should be able to move on. If you're constantly coming back to the same point, the same problem, there's been a breakdown in the chain somewhere. Somebody wasn't clear, somebody wasn't honest, somebody didn't really understand or accept, and somebody wasn't reciprocating the energy. If you do those 5 things and you get to the M and the 5th one, you move on, you should be able to get to the next problem. We can never get to the next problem because we're always stuck in the cycle on the first problem, which is something simple. not just being able to relate to each other. We should be able to relate to each other if we had a structure to do it. And I think that charm would, what is it? Was it the third time's the charm? The charm would get us through it if we embrace those principles. We will be able to navigate relationships no matter what the problem is. If we clearly communicated, we were honest and humble, we accepted and understood, we were reciprocal, we had the exchange, and then we moved forward. I think we would be able to get through anything as people. So that's my piece, and I'm sticking to it. Rico.
Wow. I was trying to figure out how you were gonna put that together. I really was. I was like, how you gonna try to put charm together? And bruh, you killed it. You killed it. At every point made absolute sense all the way across. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be here working with you. I'm proud to be a part of this partnership. And that's outstanding. And I will say this. I came in tonight with what we were going to talk about. I didn't know how it was going to go. Right. It's a sensitive and complicated topic, but the one thing, R'Shaun, you and I always talked about was let's have discussions, and let's have discussions with the integrity, the dignity, and the respect that they deserve. Let's not try to make them just, a laugh off this, that, whatever. As much as I would like them to be lighthearted, we also want a sense of seriousness so that we can discuss it. And I think we did it again. I'm proud of it. I was a little scared. I was like, oh, geez, we're going to talk about sex, and how's it not going to be like buffoonery and clownish? And it was fun, but it was a serious conversation. And I love the people that came up and engaged with us. And I think that's very important. It's given me more confidence and more faith about more difficult topics that I know that every time we have a conversation, I know that we can discuss it in a way that deserves to be discussed. Absolutely. And I'm proud of you, brother. I'm so proud. You make this show better every day. And I'll speak out to our chat and our fans, anybody watch on some replay. I say it and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. This is not our space. We just host the space. Myself and R'Shaun, we're just your hosts. This space is yours. We created this space for you guys to, we come up with topics because until you guys start sending us topics to talk about, we're going to talk about what we want to talk about. When you start telling us more things that you want to talk about, we'll start talking about that. And we'll try to talk about it in the same way. So again, I beg, I implore, I encourage all of you to engage us because that's the only way we know how. And I love it. Charm. Yeah, there you go. Clear communication, honest and humble, acceptance, reciprocation, and move on. Yep. So that's going to be our new thing. By next week, I'm going to have it down packed so you can test me on it. But until then, I hope you guys learned everything, learned something from us as we continue to move forward with the conversation. Thank you. R'Shaun, can't do it without you. And thank you guys for tuning in to Knowledge and Relationships. It's been a blessed night.
And real quick, before you close out, M3 wants us to let everybody know to please wait until the outro plays. Once the outro is finished playing, return to the video and leave a comment in the comment section, not the live chat that's going now. You may have to refresh and go to the comment section and drop a comment for the algorithm. It does help with engagement. It does help get the video spread. So please do that. Rico also got to return the love. Trust me. I would not be doing this if it weren't for you, because you bring the passion and the drive and the personality, because I'm a sit back in the back type person. So you're pulling me forward. So, it's a push and pull dynamic, the yin and the yang. I definitely appreciate you in the same way. This wouldn't work without you, because I'd be sitting here petrified in the screen if I didn't have somebody to play off of. So thank you. You make this everything it is too. I hope the people like it as much as we do.
Yeah.
So let us know, give us feedback. When you go to the comments, tell us what you think. Tell us, do you think we need spaces like this? If you like the show, go to the comments and tell us, because trust me, I check them and I'll respond to you. If you like this show, tell us what you think. If you think it should be different, if you think it should be shorter, if you think it should be longer, a different day. If you want us to put a mask on because you don't like my face, if you don't like my voice, I need to go to vocal coaching. Tell us what you want so that we can improve or change, or even if we don't do anything differently, at least you've had your say. So I would like for you to do that. Do that for me, please.
Yes. Tell us everything you like and everything you don't like. We want to hear it all. That's the only way we get better, and that's the only way we can better serve you.
Absolutely.
Again, this is your space. We're just the host, and we're blessed and happy to be here to have the opportunity to talk to you all. R'Shaun, sir?
Yep, just want to say good night to everybody. Thank you for being here. Knowledge and relationships. You have no idea how much I truly appreciate you giving us the space to speak our piece. Because, you know, we didn't know each other on Manosphere. I'll be seeing them tomorrow. So check out the Manosphere channel tomorrow. I believe it's at 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. I should be speaking with the people over there, the good people. It'll be my first time. So I just wanted to shout that out real quick. Dominique, glad you stuck around or came back. I didn't catch the entire dog reference, but, you know, me and you going to chat. I'm going to hit you up on Messenger. So everybody, I hope you have a really good night. And I hope to see you soon.
Thank you and God bless. See you next week.
Run the outro.